Chapter 520. What a joke! You say that this ancient stone belongs to the Nantian family, so it belongs to them? What proof do you have? Celestial Venerable Nan, even if these two ancient stones came from the same source, why don't you say that the Nantian family stole someone else's ancient stone? Ling Zhao's gaze turned cold as he sneered. He could tell that Celestial Venerable Nan was a scheming person. He was just looking for an excuse to take action. Moreover, Celestial Venerable Nan already knew the origin of this ancient stone. He must have linked it to Li Chunfeng. Li Chunfeng was in danger. He had to find a way to tell Li Chunfeng. As for Celestial Venerable Nan, Ling Zhao's gaze turned sharp. If Celestial Venerable Nan was really aggressive, then he would fight. At most, he would turn the entire Heavenly God City upside down. Celestial Venerable Nan's eyes narrowed. He was now sure that Ling Zhao knew the whereabouts of that person. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said such words. The remaining member of the Li family must die. Ling Zhao, give up and surrender. As long as you tell us the whereabouts of the person who stole the ancient stone, we can leave your corpse intact. Otherwise, you will know what it means to beg for death. Nan Tianqi stepped out as well. His body was emitting a terrifying aura, and his eyes were indifferent. Nan Tianjian, Qin Yang, and the rest of the Nantian family laughed sinisterly as they surrounded Ling Zhao. The old monsters were stunned. They didn't expect the Nantian family to be so determined to kill Ling Zhao. What made them fearful was that Nan Tianqi had already passed the two divine tribulations. He was considered an expert even among the half-step supremes. If he took action, the old monsters wouldn't dare to interfere. These old monsters were all cunning. If it was convenient, they wouldn't mind helping Ling Zhao. However, when it came to life and death, they naturally chose to protect themselves. Whoever dares to touch Ling Zhao will be my enemy. Granny Gui's hoarse and cold voice rang out. She emitted a vast aura as she slowly stood behind Ling Zhao. Granny Gui? Does the Moon Palace want to become enemies with the Nantian family? Nan Tianqi's eyes flashed coldly. He didn't expect Granny Gui to stand up for Ling Zhao. It's not the Moon Palace, it's me. I am indebted to Ling Zhao, so no one is allowed to touch him. Granny Gui was very tough. Her cloudy eyes flashed as she was determined to protect Ling Zhao. Ha! Granny Gui, you are no match for me. This old man advises you not to stand up for him. Ling Zhao will definitely die today. Whoever dares to stand up for him will die. Nan Tianqi sneered with a domineering look in his eyes. Nan Tianqi, I, Xiong Laohe, can't stand your Nantian family being so arrogant. If you want to touch little friend Ling, you'll have to go through me first. This old man is indebted to little friend Ling. I hope Brother Nantian can give this old man some face. After all of you are only guessing. There is no evidence to prove that little friend Ling stole the ancient stone, is there? Jian Bumi, the elder of the Sword God Pavilion, sighed and walked out. Brother Nantian, young friend Ling's bone frame is only in his teens. It's impossible for him to steal the ancient stone from the Nantian clan 2,000 years ago. He must have obtained it by chance. I hope you can show mercy. The great elder of the Precious Treasures Pavilion, Qin Tong, who had always been a good person, actually stood out to protect Ling Zhao. You? Nan Tianqi's eyes flashed with fury. Xiong Laohe was just a loose cultivator demonic beast. The Nantian family didn't care about him at all. However, the Sword God Pavilion, Precious Treasure Pavilion, and Granny Gui from the Moon Palace all wanted to protect Ling Zhao. Wasn't Ling Zhao a loose cultivator? Why would so many people stand up for him? Now that he thought about it, perhaps it was because he had obtained the longevity medicine from the Southern Sky Temple, allowing these old monsters to receive Ling Zhao's favor. Those were the treasures of the Nantian family, and in the end, they were used by Ling Zhao as a favor, causing the Nantian family to be unable to back down. Thinking of this, Nan Tianqi's chest tightened. However, Nan Tianqi was proud. He wouldn't be intimidated by anyone. Even if Granny Gui, Xiong Laohe, Jian Bumi, and Qin Tong joined forces, he wouldn't be afraid. Since you insist on standing up for Ling Zhao, don't blame me for not giving you any face. Nan Tianqi's eyes flashed fiercely. A terrifying aura spread out from his body. The void trembled violently. There were traces of mysterious sharpness. He was like a volcano that was about to erupt. It was terrifying. Seeing that a battle between half-supremes was about to break out, the ninth princess, Yuanwan, also stood up. Seniors, Heavenly God City forbids private fights. If anyone dares to violate the rules of Heavenly God City, please leave. Yuanwan's face was cold. She wore a green armor that accentuated her graceful figure. She looked valiant and formidable. She didn't care that the people in front of her were all peerless experts. Furthermore, the two fair-skinned middle-aged eunuchs behind Yuanwan instantly emitted a terrifying aura. They were both half-step supreme being experts. Now that the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon had joined the fray, the situation had taken a turn for the worse. The second prince glanced at the two eunuchs. His eyes revealed a trace of unwillingness and jealousy. He recognized that the two middle-aged eunuchs were two of the four great eunuchs serving the human emperor of the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon. He didn't expect the human emperor to favor Yuanwan so much that he sent these two great eunuchs to support her. Nan Tianqi's expression turned ugly. He didn't expect the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon to intervene. Although he was unwilling, he was still very wary of the human emperor of Heavenly God City. If that person was angered, the consequences would be unimaginable. Nan Tianzuan's eyes also darkened. He originally thought that the Nantian family was determined to kill Ling Xiao and that those old monsters wouldn't interfere. He didn't expect such a situation to occur. Not only did Ling Xiao have the treasure he wanted, but he also had information about the Li family. Therefore, he couldn't let Ling Xiao go. Ling Xiao, since so many seniors are pleading for you, I'll give you a chance. Nan Tianzuan looked coldly at Ling Xiao and said, "Fight with me fairly. If you can defeat me, I'll let you go. The Nantian family won't pursue your crime of stealing the ancient stone. But if you lose, you'll be my servant for 10 years. Of course, you can also choose to refuse. If you refuse, you and your friends will be hunted down by the Nantian family. We'll hunt you down until you're dead. Fight with you? You're a monarch while Ling Xiao is only a noble. How dare you say it's a fair fight? Does the Nantian family have any shame?" The old goat immediately became angry and sneered. Nan Tianzuan's words were overbearing and arrogant. If Ling Xiao didn't fight, he would die. It was a blatant threat. That's right. If you want a fair fight, you'll have to suppress your cultivation and fight Ling Xiao. Otherwise, what right do you have? Taoist Wu Yang sneered as well. What right do I have? Because I'm Nan Tianzuan. Nan Tianzuan was extremely cold and his voice was filled with coldness. You should know that if I didn't back down, you would be a dead man today. So, whether you want to fight with me or wait for the endless pursuit of the Nantian family, Ling Xiao, think about it yourself. Ha! What a Nantian family! Ling Xiao laughed from extreme anger. His eyes became extremely deep as he looked coldly at Nan Tianzuan. You want to fight? Sure, why don't we play something more exciting? A battle of life and death. We'll bet our lives. Whoever loses will die. Thank you, everyone, but I've already decided. South Celestial Venerable, let's meet on the life and death platform after the Heavenly God Assembly. Ling Xiao's eyes were filled with killing intent. The Nantian family had completely enraged him. So what if Nantianju knew about it? Ling Xiao was prepared to kill South Heaven Venerable in Heaven God City. With Ling Xiao's current cultivation, there weren't many people that he was afraid of. The sky-devouring supreme from his previous life was destined to reach a higher realm in this life. There was nothing to be afraid of. If someone blocked his path, he would just crush them. Good, very good, very good. Ling Xiao, after the Heaven God Conference, you will pay for your arrogance today. South Celestial Venerable looked at Ling Xiao coldly before turning to leave the Heaven Rank Stone Garden. As for the Goddess Stone and Purple Aura spiritual technique, South Celestial Venerable believed that they were only temporarily with Ling Xiao. They would naturally return to their rightful owners after Ling Xiao died. Let's go! Nan Tianqi also looked coldly at the crowd before leaving the precious treasure pavilion with the Nantian family. Young friend Ling, you're too impulsive. South Celestial Venerable is really strong. Jian Bummy and some other old monsters said with pity. Thank you for your concern. The Nantian family has gone too far. I won't let South Celestial Venerable look down on me even if I have to die. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Although he knew that the crowd didn't think highly of him, he didn't care. The crowd shook their heads, sighed, and turned to leave. From their expressions, one could tell that they thought Ling Xiao was dead for sure. Bastard, give me back the stone skin. Zhao Ritian was sneaking around to take the stone skin away, but the old goat was one step ahead of him and kept the stone skin of the two ancient stones. I was wondering who it was. Isn't this Zhao Ritian? When did you start eating stone skin? The old goat glanced at Zhao Ritian and said lazily. The old goat was also surprised. He didn't expect Zhao Ritian to come to the War God continent and become the Sun Palace's saint. You're the one who eats stone skin. Your whole family eats stone skin. Zhao Ritian seemed to have been caught in a sore spot. He flew into a rage and pointed at the old goat while trembling. The arrogant Zhao Ritian saw the matter of him being forced to eat the diamond rock as the biggest humiliation. He didn't expect the old goat to bring it up again. Since you don't eat stone skin, why do you want our stone skin? Are you trying to do something bad? The old goat stared at Zhao Ritian and said maliciously. Ling Xiao had instructed the old goat to get the stone skin of the two ancient stones. There must be some kind of secret in it. The old goat was suspicious. Zhao Ritian was so nervous about the stone skin. Could it be that he noticed it too? I'll take it back and study it. Zhao Ritian laughed coldly. I'm sorry. Anything that is in my hands belongs to me. If you want it, buy it with 30 million pure yang pills. The old goat shook his head and said with a complacent expression. 30 million pure yang pills? You're robbing me. Zhao Ritian was shocked and glared at the old goat. Zhao Ritian, why are you here? When Ling Xiao saw Zhao Ritian as well, a glint flashed across his eyes. The Eight Desolates region and the War God continent were separated by the endless reincarnation ocean. Ling Xiao didn't expect to meet Zhao Ritian in Heavenly God City. I also came here by chance. Ling Xiao, let's make a deal. Why don't you give me the stone skin? I'll give you 1 million pure yang pills. Zhao Ritian laughed. He didn't want to talk about how he came to the War God continent. However, he didn't give up and smiled. What do you want the stone skin for? If you want it, buy it with 30 million pure yang pills. Ling Xiao's eyes lit up and smiled. He guessed that Zhao Ritian might have seen through the stone skin secret. Rin, let's go. I'm afraid Ling Xiao also knows about the stone skin secret. Forget it. The second elder sighed and his voice rang in Zhao Ritian's mind. Zhao Ritian's heart skipped a beat. He felt regretful and unwilling, but he still agreed in the end. Dream on. I don't want it anymore. Chapter 522. In the stone garden of the Precious Treasure Pavilion, the stone gambling match between Ling Xiao and South Celestial Venerable had ended. News of this stone gambling had shaken the entire Heavenly God City. The stone gambling process was full of twists and turns. No one expected South Celestial Venerable to lose to Ling Xiao. Countless people felt that the 9 reincarnation golden spirit ginseng was a pity. That was a quasi-divine medicine, a supreme treasure that would cause supreme being experts to fight over it. In the end, it had actually become a useless medicine. The exploding dendrobium Ling Xiao cut out made people speechless. They didn't expect Ling Xiao to cut out such a trashy supreme divine medicine and even beat South Celestial Venerable. This was unbelievable. South Celestial Venerable lost to Ling Xiao. Not only did he lose the face of the Nantian aristocratic family, but he also lost the Goddess Stone and the Purple Chi spiritual technique. According to the legends, the Goddess Stone was inextricably linked to the Celestial Stone. It was incomparably mysterious. For some unknown reason, the Nantian family had always kept this ancient stone. Who would have thought that Ling Xiao would win it? As for the Purple Chi spiritual technique, it was said to be able to see through the mysteries of the heavens. It was also a supreme secret technique that was incomparably precious. When these two treasures landed in Ling Xiao's hands, countless people's eyes turned red with greed. Ling Xiao is dead for sure. After the Heavenly God Assembly, he will have a life and death battle with South Celestial Venerable. He will die for sure. Life and death battle? Is Ling Xiao crazy? He dares to bet his life with Celestial Venerable Nan? Geniuses are always a little arrogant. However, those who overestimate themselves are not geniuses, but idiots. Unfortunately, Ling Xiao is an idiot who can't see through himself. It's a pity that the Nantian family has a good plan. After Ling Xiao's death, the Goddess Stone and Purple Chi psychic technique will fall into the hands of the Nantian family. Everyone in Heavenly God City was discussing fervently. They all thought that Ling Xiao would definitely die in the battle with South Heavenly Venerable. After all, Ling Xiao was only in the Royal Noble realm. The gap between him and South Heavenly Venerable was too great. South Celestial Venerable was considered one of the top geniuses of the War God continent. Only the most outstanding disciples of the sacred grounds could match him. Ling Xiao might have some talent in stone gambling, but no one thought he was South Celestial Venerable's match. Just as everyone was discussing, the people in the Heaven Stone Garden had already left. Only Ling Xiao, the old goat, and Taoist Wu Yang were left. Ling Xiao looked around and realized that no one was spying on them. He then walked towards the exploding dendrobium. Ling Xiao, what are you doing? Chapter 523. Ancient Divine Worm, Sky-Mending Silkworm. Ling Xiao's eyes sparkled as he spoke slowly. It's the Sky-Mending Silkworm. No wonder the 9-turn golden spiritual ginseng was emptied. It was dried by the Sky-Mending Silkworm. However, the value of this Sky-Mending Silkworm is more than 100 times higher than the incomplete 9-turn golden spiritual ginseng. The old goat said excitedly, his eyes shining. The Sky-Mending Silkworm was an ancient divine worm. Legend had it that it had the power to destroy heaven and earth. It would spit out a Sky-Mending pearl every 10,000 years. At the same time, it would hibernate and evolve once. After 9 evolutions, it would turn into a cocoon and finally become a butterfly. It would become the legendary Sky-Mending divine butterfly that could change the color of heaven and earth. A flap of the Sky-Mending divine butterfly's wings could shake the heavens, destroy a world, and destroy billions of lives. It was extremely ferocious. The ancient Huantian elder cultivated the 9-turn golden spiritual ginseng for the Sky-Mending Silkworm because the 9-turn golden spiritual ginseng could accelerate the evolution of the Sky-Mending Silkworm. Unfortunately, everyone thought that Elder Guantian had reincarnated and didn't know the origin of the Sky-Mending Silkworm. Ling Xiao said slowly with a hint of excitement in his eyes. He had accidentally learned about the origin of the Sky-Mending Silkworm in his previous life. Even the other primes didn't know about it. Therefore, when Ling Xiao saw the emptied 9-turn golden spiritual ginseng, he immediately thought of the Sky-Mending Silkworm. The Sky-Mending Silkworm was a divine worm that messed with heaven's secrets and looked extremely ordinary. Therefore, Celestial Venerable Nan didn't expect such a divine worm to exist in the ancient stone. Celestial Venerable Nan was extremely confident in his purple aura spiritual technique. He didn't even bother to check the surface of the stone again. In the end, Ling Xiao benefited from it. Buzz. The blood-colored Sky-Mending Silkworm trembled slightly as if it sensed the ancient stone being cut open. A faint light spread out. It opened its mouth and spat out a blood-colored pearl. It looked only the size of a grain of rice, but it was flawless and dazzling. It contained an extremely powerful divine fluctuation. The moment it spat out the blood pearl, the Sky-Mending Silkworm's body started turning white at a visible speed. It was flawless white like jade, and 8 mysterious blood streaks appeared on it. This is the Sky-Mending Pearl? The eyes of the old goat and Taoist Wu Yang lit up in an instant. They hurriedly pounced on it and carefully grabbed it to take a look. The old goat especially wanted to stuff it into his mouth. Don't mess around, I have great use for this heaven-mending bead. Ling Xiao jumped in fright and quickly and carefully put away the heaven-mending bead. The heaven-mend pearl was the essence of the heaven-mend silkworm that had been condensed for 10,000 years. It contained a divine substance that could prolong one's life, allow one to be reborn, and even be reborn. It could be said that a single heaven-mending pearl had heaven-defying effects. Even compared to a supreme divine medicine, it was not much different. It was just that the heaven-mending pearl's lifespan extension was very short, and not as long as a supreme divine medicine. This heaven-mend silkworm has already evolved 8 times. In other words, after one more time, it will transform into the legendary heaven-mend butterfly? The old goat stared at the 8 streaks of blood on the heaven-mend silkworm with anticipation in his eyes. That's right. Unfortunately, it will take another 10,000 years. Taoist Wu Yang smiled bitterly. 10,000 years was too long. When the time came, they would not be able to survive. If they did not have a way to become a supreme being, they would turn into dust in 3,000 years at most. If we feed the heaven-mend silkworm with all kinds of precious spiritual blood and heavenly treasures, it can greatly shorten the time it needs to evolve. If we can let it swallow a 9 transformation golden spirit ginseng, I'm afraid it can instantly evolve for the 9th time. Ling Xiao said slowly. He carefully took out a jade box and put the heaven-mend silkworm away. At the same time, he engraved a powerful defensive seal on it to prevent the heaven-mend silkworm from waking up and escaping. Before the heaven-mend silkworm completely evolved into the heaven-mend butterfly, although it was muddle-headed and had no spiritual intelligence, it had an extremely strong instinct to escape. Even a supreme being would have a hard time catching it. If it had not been sealed in the ancient stone, Ling Xiao would not have been able to obtain such a heaven-defying treasure. Could this heaven-mend silkworm be the one that old man Guantian obtained? The old goat was a little suspicious. After all, in ancient history, old man Guantian was the only one who had obtained the heaven-mend silkworm. There had never been a second heaven-mend silkworm. The heaven-mend pearl can mend one's innate defects, reconstruct one's physical body, and increase one's lifespan. However, it's not very useful for your Dao injury. I plan to give it to Li Chunfeng. Ling Xiao looked at the old goat and Taoist Wu Yang and said, "Give it to Li Chunfeng? That's a good idea." Although Li Chunfeng is like a lamp that has run out of oil and can't be saved without a supreme divine medicine, if he consumes the heaven-mend pearl, there's a high chance that he can recover the cultivation of his previous life. The old goat's eyes lit up as he understood Ling Xiao's idea. That's right. As the head of the Li family, Li Chunfeng must be a peerless expert who has passed the tribulation of the 4 symbols. Moreover, he's a powerful feng shui grandmaster. He's one of the few people who can fight against a supreme being expert as a half-step supreme being. This is also the reason why the Li family has always been prosperous. I believe that if he recovers, he'll definitely be a great help to us. By then, even if the southern sky extinction comes, there's nothing to be afraid of. Taoist Wu Yang also analyzed and thought that Ling Xiao's idea was feasible. The reason why Ling Xiao wanted to give the heaven-mend pearl to Li Chunfeng was because he believed in Li Chunfeng's character, or rather, he believed in his feelings towards Luo Luo. Luo Luo always gave Ling Xiao a familiar feeling and made Ling Xiao feel close to her. There's no time to lose. The Heavenly God Conference will begin in 2 days. Let's go find Li Chunfeng first. Ling Xiao said slowly. The old goat and Taoist Wu Yang had no objections. After leaving the heaven-level stone garden, they cautiously took a few detours to shake off their tails. Only then did they conceal their aura and cautiously came to Li Chunfeng's courtyard. Li Chunfeng and Luo Luo were very happy to see Ling Xiao, especially Luo Luo. Her long eyelashes fluttered as she hugged the doll that Ling Xiao gave her. Her face was full of radiant and pure smiles. Li Chunfeng also heard that Ling Xiao had won the stone gambling competition and was also very happy. However, Li Chunfeng didn't know what was in the ancient stone before. When he heard that Ling Xiao had cut out an explosive ancient stone, his face was filled with an extremely strange expression. Little friend Ling, it seems like I've overestimated myself. If not for the problem with South Celestial Venerable's 9-turn golden spiritual ginseng, it would be difficult for you to win against him. Li Chunfeng sighed softly. Senior, the problem with South Celestial Venerable's 9-turn golden spiritual ginseng was because of the heaven-mending silkworm. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and didn't hide anything. He told him about the heaven-mending silkworm and old man Guantian. At the same time, he took out the heaven-mending pearl. Heaven-mending pearl? Li Chunfeng's body trembled, and a bright light flashed in his eyes. Although the heaven-mending pearl was only the size of a grain of rice, Li Chunfeng could feel the divine substance contained in it. It made his dried-up life origin surge again. This heaven-mending pearl was extremely important to him. Why do you want to give me the heaven-mending pearl? The old man was only a half-step supreme at his peak. He might not be able to help you. If you give the heaven-mending pearl to the green dragon human emperor, I believe he'll be more than willing to protect you. Chapter 524. Senior, you gave me the ancient stone and helped me win the stone bet. You even won the goddess stone and the purple cheese spiritual technique from South Celestial Venerable. I owe you a huge debt of gratitude, so I should give this heaven-mending pearl to you. Furthermore, the head of the Li family is only a half-step supreme. He can look down on the world and compete with a supreme. I believe in you, Senior. Ling Xiao said with a smile. He was very clear about his debts of gratitude and grudges. Li Chunfeng was a supreme expert in his prime and could compete with a supreme. Since Li Chunfeng helped Ling Xiao win the stone bet, Ling Xiao had to save his life in return. It was a deal, but it was also a debt of gratitude. Ha! Little brother, I was right about you. Li Chunfeng laughed heartily, hiding the gratitude in his eyes. Don't worry. With this heaven-mending pearl, my old life will be saved. I'll definitely be there when you and South Celestial Venerable have a duel. I want to see if South Celestial Venerable has a title. Li Chuanfeng's eyes flashed with sharpness and coldness. Dao confirmation title? I'm afraid he doesn't have that ability yet. Otherwise, he wouldn't have needed to travel the starry world and would have returned long ago. Ling Xiao said with a smile. 9th level supreme. One more step and he would be a titled supreme. He would be known as the pinnacle of the human Tao and a peerless expert with half a step into the godly spirit realm. Ling Xiao was at this level in his previous life. He knew how difficult it was to attain a title. Little brother, I'll be in seclusion for the next 2 days. Please take care of Luo for me. Also, don't cut the goddess stone yet. Find a chance to cut it when you see the sky god stone. You'll have unexpected gains. Li Chunfeng looked at Ling Xiao and said. Ling Xiao nodded and said, Senior, don't worry. I'll take good care of Luo. Legend has it that there's a mysterious connection between the goddess stone and the sky god stone. Is that true? That's right. There is indeed a mysterious connection between the goddess stone and the heavenly god stone. The heavenly god stone flew out from the primitive ancient mine, while the goddess stone was obtained by the Nantian family from the primitive ancient mine. Rumor has it that several half-step supremes died for the goddess stone, and a supremes were seriously injured. Li Chunfeng said slowly. Since the goddess stone is so precious, why didn't the Nantian family cut it themselves? You want to sell it in the Heavenly King Palace? The old goat couldn't help but ask. Who said the Nantian family has never been cut open before? Li Chunfeng sneered. After the Nantian family obtained this ancient stone, they wanted to cut it open. However, no matter who it was, as long as they tried to cut it open, they would all die after the first cut. Sudden death. The old goat and Taoist Wu Yang were shocked. Don't be careless, Nan Tianqi warned. Granduncle, don't worry. No matter how good Yu Renquang's plan is, it will only benefit the Nantian family in the end. South Celestial Venerable sneered. Yu Renquang was the name of the Azure Dragon human emperor, but South Celestial Venerable didn't care about him at all. With the family head here, there won't be any problems. Nan Tianqi also nodded with a smile. Star Palace's encampment. Senior brother Tan Lang, the 7-kill Starchild and the Army Destroyer Starchild will arrive in 2 days. They will be accompanied by 3 great elders. It's said that even a grand elder will come. A black-robed man knelt before Tan Lang and reported respectfully. A grand elder is coming as well? It seems like there's a big secret in the heavenly god stone. The rumored secret to becoming a god. It's true. This time, it will definitely belong to me. Tan Lang's eyes burned with passion as he looked at the center of Heavenly God City. That was where the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon's Imperial City was located and where the Heavenly God Assembly would be held. Imperial City. Crown Prince, everything has been arranged. When the Heavenly God Assembly begins, the Heavenly God realm will open. At that time, the human emperor will hold everything back for you. A fair-skinned great eunuch in black palace robes said respectfully, his voice sharp and cold. In front of the great eunuch was a tall figure in a black dragon robe and a jade crown. He exuded a mysterious and powerful dragon aura. His back was to the great eunuch, and although his face couldn't be seen clearly, it was clear that he was an extremely powerful person. The first prince of the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon, Crown Prince Yu. Very good, everything is going according to plan. After this heavenly god assembly, the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon will become one of the top sacred grounds on the war god continent. Those people will have died a worthy death. A calm and indifferent voice rang out. Yui didn't look back as he slowly walked into the depths of the palace. Reporting to Imperial Father, I won't let him down. After the indifferent voice sounded out, Yu slowly disappeared into the darkness, and no trace of his aura could be sensed. Yes, this old servant will take his leave. Chapter 525. In the treasure pavilion, after Ling Xiao settled Luoluo down, old goat and Taoist Wuyang took care of her, and Ling Xiao began to cultivate in seclusion. In 2 days, Ling Xiao spent another 2 million pure yang pills and finally broke through to LV9 Noble Realm. Ling Xiao did not attend the auction at the precious treasure pavilion. Instead, he sent the old goat and Taoist Wuyang. Ling Xiao also cut out 3 pieces of precious metal from the 3 pieces of soul-breaking stone that he obtained from Li Chunfeng. They were treasures that could be used to refine top-level Taoist instruments. In the end, all of Ling Xiao's treasures were auctioned off for over 1 million pure yang pills. However, these pure yang pills were already nothing to Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao possessed a wealth of over 10 million, so these pure yang pills were sufficient for him to cultivate until the monarch realm. Ling Xiao already had the true Dragon Ball. He had also asked the old goat and Taoist Wuyang to find a few precious king herbs for him in the precious treasure pagoda. He was planning to use them together with the true Dragon Ball to achieve the heavenly dragon flesh. The physical body of the heavenly dragon body could be said to be the strongest under Supreme Being. If Ling Xiao could break through to the heavenly dragon body, his combat strength would increase tremendously. Even if he faced those half-step supremes, he would still have the strength to fight back. Ling Xiao was adjusting his state of mind, preparing for the Heavenly God Assembly 2 days later. As for the undercurrents in Heavenly God City, Ling Xiao did not know about them, nor did he have the time to care about them. The only thing on his mind right now was to resolve the matter of Heavenly God City as quickly as possible and then head to Gemini Mountain. 2 days passed quickly. Ling Xiao held Lolua's little hand and left the treasure pavilion with the old goat and Taoist Wuyang. They walked towards the Imperial City. The Heavenly God Assembly was being held in the Imperial City. The royal city was glittering in gold and jade, majestic and ancient. It exuded a desolate yet majestic aura. Totems of the dragon clan could be seen everywhere, which was a testament to the ancient kingdom of dragons' vast resources. In an enormous white jade square that was coiled by clouds and mist and seething with auspicious energy, it was like a heavenly palace, and the figures of countless young geniuses had already appeared. Everyone's face was filled with anticipation. The Heavenly God Stone was famous throughout the entire war god continent. It was said to be mysterious and unfathomable. It could allow people to comprehend the Tao, comprehend powerful peerless martial arts, or break through cultivation. Thus, when the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon convened the Heavenly God Assembly, it attracted countless geniuses from the several hundred prefectures of the war god continent. Among them were the Sun Palace, the Moon Palace, the Star Palace, the 4 great ancient kingdoms including the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon, the Sword God Pavilion, the Precious Treasure Pavilion, the Walkabout Sect, the Black Heaven Sect, the Nantian family, the Jiang family, and countless other powerful martial arts holy lands and hidden ancient clans. South Celestial Venerable is here. I heard that he will have a life and death battle with Ling Xiao after the Heavenly God Assembly. Ling Xiao is dead for sure. I wonder where he got the confidence to challenge South Celestial Venerable. The crowd was in an uproar as someone saw South Celestial Venerable walking over from afar. South Celestial Venerable wore a purple robe and was surrounded by purple energy. He had a slender figure and looked extraordinary, emitting a mysterious and noble aura. Especially his eyes. They flickered with a violet light and were suffused with violet energy. They were incomparably indifferent, as if they could see through the void and contained a force that made one's heart palpitate. He strolled over like a celestial emperor on an inspection tour. He was accompanied by the Nantian Sword, Qinyang, and other members of the Nantian family. Each of them looked incomparably arrogant. Brother South Celestial, let me introduce you. These two are Senior Brother Seven Kill and Senior Brother Pajuan from the Star Palace. The greedy wolf Starchild smiled and went up to welcome him. Beside him were two young men in star robes with powerful auras. The greedy wolf Starchild introduced them to South Celestial Venerable. So it's the Seven Kill Starchild and the Pajuan Starchild. It's an honor to meet you. South Celestial Venerable smiled. The 5 star children of the Star Palace were famous in the world. They were all monstrous and exceptional geniuses. Although the 7 Kill Starchild and the Pajuan Starchild in front of him were only in the noble realm, they had suppressed their cultivation and were cultivating some kind of powerful superpower. South Celestial Venerable could feel that their auras were extremely powerful. Ordinary sovereigns were no match for them. Brother South Celestial, you're too courteous. That little bastard Ling Xiao killed the elders and disciples of the Star Palace. He deserves to die. After the Heavenly God Convention, we believe that he will definitely die in the hands of Brother South Celestial. The 7 Kill Starchild and the Pajuan Starchild smiled at South Celestial Venerable. Don't worry, Star Children. That little bastard Ling Xiao will definitely die in the hands of my brother. The Nantian Sword sneered. Not long after, the second prince also walked over. The few of them seemed to have formed a small group. Some young talents who were trying to curry favor with them also walked over and surrounded the few of them in the middle, saying some flattering words. When Ling Xiao brought Luo Luo, the old goat, and Taoist Wuliang to the White Jade Square, they saw that there were already many people waiting there. As far as the eye could see, there were thousands of young talents and geniuses from various forces. Each of them had an incomparably arrogant look on their faces. Among them, Yueshan, Zhao Ritian, the 9th Princess Yu Wanwan, the successor of the Sword God's Pavilion, the princess of the ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird, and other people that Ling Xiao knew had already arrived. At the center of the crowd was a huge stone platform. It was carved out of 10,000-year-old warm jade and emitted a dense glow. It was the place where the heavenly stones were stored. However, at the moment, it was empty. The heavenly stones had yet to appear. Ling Xiao is here? He looks very calm. Could he really fight South Celestial Venerable? Ling Xiao's arrival caused quite a commotion. However, most of them had doubtful and mocking expressions on their faces. Although Ling Xiao had made a name for himself in Heavenly God City in the past 2 days, it was only in the stone gambling realm. His cultivation was only in the noble realm, and he hadn't revealed his talent and combat strength in the martial Dao. Naturally, no one thought that Ling Xiao would be a match for South Celestial Venerable. He's only in the noble realm. It's impossible for him to fight South Celestial Venerable. You have to know that South Celestial Venerable already had a glorious record of killing an emperor when he was in the noble realm. Now that he has broken through to the monarch realm, he's even more unfathomable. That's right. Even the star sons of the Star Palace, Qi Sha, Pajuan, and Tanlang, might not be able to fight against Celestial Venerable Nan. Perhaps only the star sons of the Purple Star and North Star, as well as our ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon's crown prince, can fight against him. Looks like there's no suspense in the battle after the Heavenly God Conference. I wonder how many moves Ling Xiao can take. Perhaps he'll be killed in one hit. Everyone discussed animatedly. Their eyes were filled with sympathy or schadenfreude. These snobs are infuriating, but I'm looking forward to seeing their expressions after Ling Xiao kills South Celestial Venerable. The old goat sneered. Those fellows are just ordinary people? Is that the legendary crown prince of the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon? Chapter 526. That was a perfect and flawless man. He wore a black dragon robe, a jade crown on his head, and a pair of cloud boots on his feet. His figure was slender and handsome, and his skin glowed. His face was like jade, and his entire person carried a transcendent aura. He had a perfect smile, warm and bright. As he walked, it was as if the whole world was lit up. For eunuchs followed behind him, as if he was the center of the world. He had a mysterious and quiet temperament, and the entire white jade square quietened down. The crown prince of the ancient kingdom of Dragon, Yue. South Celestial Venerable said slowly with a glint in his eyes. Yue's aura seemed gentle, but it was extremely powerful, causing those old monsters to reveal a trace of surprise in their eyes. 30 years ago, Yu was a peerless genius of the war god continent. At that time, he had already condensed a supreme Dharma idol and broken through to the Emperor realm. Now, 30 years had passed. Although he rarely appeared in front of others, he had become even more unfathomable. Big brother, he has become stronger again. The second prince's eyes revealed a look of jealousy and fear, and his voice was trembling. Crown Prince Yue was more than 20 years older than the second prince. When Yue became famous, the second prince was only a little kid. He knew better than anyone how terrifying his big brother was. The crown prince of the ancient kingdom of Dragon? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. He felt a special aura from Yue, and it was extremely dangerous. Among the young geniuses, even South Celestial Venerable didn't give Ling Zhao such a dangerous feeling. This meant that Yue was very strong. Yue appeared at the right time, and it was noon. When the bright sun rose to the center of the sky and illuminated the land, Yue's figure was dazzling. Everyone, welcome to the Heavenly God Conference. It is the honor of the ancient kingdom of Dragon to see so many geniuses here, and it is also my honor. Yue had a gentle smile on his face, and his gaze fell on everyone. His elegance and bearing made countless female disciples blush, and their hearts fluttered. Their beautiful eyes were full of splendor, and they showed an extremely infatuated expression. After some small talk, Rainy Rain got to the point. The Celestial Stone is a supreme treasure obtained by an ancestor of the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon. It's enshrouded in the laws and divine light of the Great Tao. It's branded with the truths of heaven and earth. It's the cornerstone treasure of the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon. Anyone who cultivated under the Heavenly God Stone could comprehend an incomparably powerful divine ability. Within the Empyrean Divine Stone, there is a mysterious Empyrean Divine Realm. It is a sacred land where the laws and energy interweave. If one cultivates within the Empyrean Divine Realm, one day is equivalent to 1 year or even 10 years in the outside world. As long as one passes through the baptism of the Empyrean Divine Realm, not only will their martial arts cultivation increase by leaps and bounds, but they will also be able to comprehend heaven-shaking peerless martial arts. Yue's voice was very calm, but the content of his words made many of the genius disciples somewhat excited. Each of them was breathing rapidly, and their eyes were filled with anticipation. There are 2 reasons for this Heavenly God Assembly. Firstly, it's to participate in the great event together with all the geniuses, to comprehend the peerless martial arts within the Empyrean Divine Stone. It's also a way for the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon to establish a good relationship with all of you. Secondly, the Empyrean Divine Stone contains a shocking secret, which the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon is unable to unravel. I hope to rely on everyone's strength to unravel the secret within the Empyrean Divine Stone. Rainy Rain said to the crowd with a smile. May I ask, Crown Prince, what kind of secret is hidden within the Empyrean Divine Stone? A young genius could not help but ask. Rainy Rain's eyes flickered with astonishment as he slowly said, What kind of secret is it? The ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon has yet to discover it after so many years. Maybe there's a god-level peerless divine herb or a world-destroying godly weapon. Anything is possible. The ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon promises that the fortunate encounters you find in the Empyrean Divine Realm will belong to you. The ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon will not rob you. Buzz. After saying this, Rainy Rain waved his hand, causing a brilliant rain of light to spread across the place. A peerless ancient stone appeared on the platform. The crowd shuddered as they immediately glanced toward it. It was the crowd's first time seeing the true appearance of the Empyrean Divine Stone, causing them to be extremely curious. It was an extremely huge ancient stone, encapsulated in a brilliant glow. Runes intertwined with one another, like a chain of order, penetrating the void. Golden lightning lingered around it, blinding the eyes. The shape of the ancient stone, in particular, resembled a heart. It had 9 orifices, like 9 godly holes, emitting a brilliant glow. This was the Empyrean Divine Stone. A mysterious, ancient, and desolate aura spread across the place, as if the crowd had arrived at the beginning of the ancient era, witnessing the beginning of the heavens and earth. The rare phenomenon emitted by the Empyrean Divine Stone was too shocking, as if a peerless ancient stone had descended from the realm of gods, causing everyone to open their eyes wide. A mysterious Tao aura spread across the place, encapsulating the entire white jade square. Endless mysterious laws intertwined with one another, causing the crowd to fall into a state of Tao comprehension. However, the Empyrean Divine Stone seemed to be a little picky. Only those with a cultivation below the half-martial highness realm and a young bone structure were able to sense its majestic Tao intent. Many old monsters revealed a regretful look on their faces. Although they had long known about the treasure mountain, they couldn't help but sigh in admiration and regret when they saw the Empyrean Divine Stone. Everyone, the Heavenly God Conference has officially begun. Whether you can enter the Heavenly God realm or not will depend on your luck. Yu Yui's eyes revealed a hint of excitement. He glanced at the void indifferently, then sat down cross-legged under the Empyrean Divine Stone. Rumble. At this moment, 9 mysterious stars appeared in the sky. Each of them was as dazzling as the sun. They formed a line, and the one in the middle was the sun. A vast and majestic power of the stars descended, and the source was the Empyrean Divine Stone. The entire Empyrean Divine Stone was instantly enveloped by a mysterious light. The Tao aura that had already risen up became even more powerful, and traces of chaotic mist spread out. 9 stars aligned? 9 stars aligned actually appeared? This Empyrean Divine Stone is so terrifying? An old monster looked at the 9 stars in the sky, and his eyes revealed an incomparably shocked expression. Everyone thought that the Empyrean Divine Stone was too powerful, which caused the 9 stars aligned to appear. This caused many people to look at the Empyrean Divine Stone with fiery eyes. I want to see what is in the legendary Heavenly God realm. I will definitely obtain a peerless martial art. My name, Lu Rinjia, will definitely spread across the entire War God continent. Divine abilities, magical treasures, elixirs, peerless inheritances, they will all be mine. Chapter 527. Many of the young geniuses were excited. They sat down cross-legged and were enveloped by the Taoist rhyme, entering a state of enlightenment. When Ling Xiao saw the scene in the sky, he was shocked. How is this the 9 stars alignment? This is clearly the 10 suns across the sky. The 9 stars alignment and the 10 suns across the sky were completely different constellations. They represented different meanings in the Tao of Feng Shui. Ling Xiao also felt that after the 10 suns across the sky, the Empyrean God Stone was clearly different. It seemed to carry some mysterious power of the void, forming a strange connection with the 9 stars in the sky. Moreover, the goddess stone began to tremble slightly at this moment. It was like excitement, but also like fear. Ling Xiao, this Empyrean God Stone is not simple. This power definitely surpasses the supremacy realm, the old goat said slowly to Ling Xiao. His eyes were filled with a solemn expression. Legend has it that the founding emperor of the ancient kingdom of Dragon was the descendant of the Scarlet Dragon War God. Could this Empyrean God Stone be related to the Scarlet Dragon War God? Taoist Wu Yang's eyes revealed a strange look as if he wanted to see through this ancient stone. Buzz. At this moment, a divine chain of order that was coiling around Yu Yui emitted a dazzling light. It was as if a chain had been unlocked. Yu Yui was wrapped in a mysterious light and shot into the celestial stone. His Highness the Crown Prince has entered the Empyrean God's realm. A genius from the ancient kingdom of Dragon exclaimed, his eyes burning with passion. Everyone who sat before the Empyrean God Stone would be bound by a chain of order, which represented a mysterious power of law. Only by comprehending this chain of order would one be able to enter the Empyrean God's realm. Seeing that you had entered the Empyrean God's realm first, the remaining geniuses became even more excited. Almost all of them sat down cross-legged, no longer watching. They were bound by a chain of order and entered the state of enlightenment. The Empyrean God's realm is indeed mysterious. Let's enter the so-called Empyrean God's realm to take a look. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he sat down slowly. The old goat and Taoist Wuliang naturally had no objections. They sat down cross-legged, bound by a chain of order. Luoluo had already been handed over to Granny Gui to take care of. What surprised Ling Zhao was that Taoist Wuliang was able to obtain the recognition of the divine stone despite his young foundation. However, the old goat was also able to obtain the recognition of the divine stone. This made Ling Zhao speculate a little more about the divine stone. Boom! After Ling Zhao sat down, he was enveloped by a divine chain of order. Boundless power of laws radiated out, as if an extremely profound truth of the world was unfurling before him. The power of these laws represented a martial artist's most basic understanding of the world, their understanding and mastery of the source of martial arts. It was like a test. As long as one could solve it, they would naturally obtain the qualifications to enter the Empyrean God's stone. Ling Zhao took a look. These power of laws were not difficult. Most people should be able to obtain the qualifications to enter the heavenly God realm. A moment later, the God sequence chains around Ling Zhao broke apart instantly. A resplendent rain of light enveloped him, and he instantly entered the heavenly God realm. Is this the heavenly God realm? When Ling Zhao opened his eyes, he found himself in an unfamiliar space. The surrounding was filled with chaos, and it was filled with an ancient and mysterious aura. In front of Ling Zhao's eyes, there was a flight of white jade stairs that shot up to the sky. There were thousands of stone stairs, and at the end of the stone stairs, there was a huge bronze divine palace that suppressed the chaos, emitting a mysterious and ancient light. What? Ling Zhao was shocked. This bronze divine palace was exactly the same as the one he had seen before. This was the third bronze divine palace that Ling Zhao had seen. Ling Zhao did not expect that there would be a bronze divine palace hidden in the divine stone. That is, the palace of the King of Gods? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. He could see the end of the stone stairs. There were 3 ancient and clear words on the plaque of the bronze divine palace. Palace of the King of Gods. Soon, the old goat and Taoist Wuliang also entered the divine stone. When they saw the scene before them, they were extremely shocked. Palace of the King of Gods. Could this really be left behind by the King of Gods? Someone exclaimed, his voice trembling. Being an immortal was already an unimaginable realm that they pursued throughout their lives. What kind of terrifying figure would the King of Gods be? Look, there's a stone tablet over there. Someone's eyes flashed as he saw an ancient stone tablet beside the white jade stairs. There were ancient words on the stone tablet. After reading the information in those words, everyone's eyes were filled with excitement. This is the path to heaven? There are 3,000 stone steps, representing the number of the great perfection of Zhou Tian. After reaching the top and experiencing the refinement of the path to heaven, one can reach the palace of the King of Gods. According to the introduction on the stone tablet, the 3,000 stone steps were the path to heaven. There would be unimaginable trials. One had to step on the path to heaven to reach the palace of the King of Gods at the top. Although no one knew what was in the palace of the King of Gods, this place looked like a place of inheritance left behind by an earth-shattering figure. Unlike the others, South Celestial Venerable, Greedy Wolf Star Child, and the others were not as excited as they were. If there was really an inheritance of a peerless expert, why would the ancient kingdom of Green Dragon be so kind as to allow everyone to enter here to fight for the inheritance? The so-called path to heaven and the palace of the King of Gods must have some unimaginable oddity. Everyone, the Sky God realm is usually a chaotic void. You can comprehend martial arts and powerful divine skills in it. There is no path to heaven and the palace of the King of Gods. According to the records of the ancient kingdom of Green Dragon, The path to heaven and the palace of the King of Gods will only appear once every 10,000 years when the alignment of 9 stars occurs. The second prince saw the confusion on the faces of South Celestial Venerable and the others and explained, "As for why the ancient kingdom of Green Dragon can't monopolize this sky god realm that seems to be the place of inheritance, you will understand when you reach the palace of the King of Gods." The second prince smiled bitterly. Clearly, it wasn't as simple as everyone thought. Yu, who was the first to enter the sky god realm, glanced at the second prince and smiled faintly. "Second brother is right. The sky god realm does need all of you. You will know when you reach the palace of the King of Gods. If you can't reach the palace of the King of Gods, it's useless even if you know." With that, Yu slowly walked towards the path to heaven. Speaking of which, this was Yu's first time stepping onto the path to heaven. His eyes revealed a hint of anticipation. Yu's footsteps became extremely heavy when he stood on the white jade steps. However, each step was firm as he slowly walked up. "Then let's climb this so-called path to heaven too." Everyone nodded, their eyes revealing a trace of anticipation as they stepped onto the white jade steps one after another. "This path to heaven is so strange." Everyone's expression changed as soon as they stepped onto the white jade steps. They felt a terrifying force pressing down on them from all directions. Not only did it target their physical bodies, but it also targeted their primordial spirits as if it was going to crush them into dust. Chapter 528. Standing on the white jade steps, it was as if everything around them had disappeared. There was only an endless fog of chaos, and above them was a path that led to the heavens. The majestic pressure was vast and mysterious, like the might of the heavens. It made everyone feel as if they were ants. The path to the heavens, the path to the heavens. Ling Zhao's gaze turned solemn. When he stepped on the stone steps, he also felt an unparalleled divine power coming from his body, soul, and qi. It was as if he was being rejected by the heavens and earth, and was about to be crushed into dust. "This is the path on the 5-colored sacred mountain?" Ling Zhao's gaze shook. He could feel that the white jade steps were similar to the path to the heavens he had encountered on the 5-colored sacred mountain. However, the difference was that the pressure on the white jade steps was far less terrifying than the heavens. After all, even Supreme Being experts were unable to withstand the pressure on the heavens road. Countless peerless experts had died on the heavens road. Although the pressure on the white jade steps was also terrifying, it was still within the range that could be withstood. The 5-colored sacred mountain, the bronze sacred palace, the palace of the divine king, the scarlet dragon war god. Ling Zhao's eyes flickered with golden light. He could faintly feel that there was a mysterious connection between these people, especially the 5-colored sacred mountain and the bronze sacred palace. Ling Zhao had never heard of such strange places in his previous life. Otherwise, he would have definitely gone to investigate. But in his second life, Ling Zhao realized that the war god continent wasn't that simple. There seemed to be some kind of truth hidden under the heavy fog. The palace of the divine king. Let me see. Is there really a divine king in the palace of the divine king? Ling Zhao withstood the pressure from the surroundings and slowly stepped onto the second stone step. Boom. A pressure that was even more terrifying than the pressure on the first step spread out. Ling Zhao's feet suddenly sank, and his entire body endured an incomparably powerful pressure. Many people couldn't withstand the pressure on the second step. They began to sit down and adjust their breathing, slowly adapting to the pressure on the stone steps. Bang, bang, bang. Ling Zhao walked up the stone steps with firm steps. He would carefully experience each step before continuing on. This pressure doesn't come from the stone steps, but from the palace of the divine king at the top? Ling Zhao's eyes flickered. He could feel that under this pressure, his body, bones, genuine qi, and even his primordial spirit were undergoing some kind of mysterious transformation. An indescribable power of law was pressed into Ling Zhao's body, causing his body to slowly strengthen. As for the pure true qi, it actually had traces of impurities being refined out, becoming closer and closer to the innate true qi. What a great fortune! Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. Only the Scarlet Dragon War God had reached the top of the heavenly path and touched the mysterious primal chaos. Furthermore, it was rumored that the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon was the descendant of the Scarlet Dragon War God. This made people even more suspicious that the Divine King Palace was left behind by the Scarlet Dragon War God. What Ling Xiao was certain of was that the person who had left behind this white jade staircase had definitely ascended the heavenly path. Perhaps he had really ascended the heavenly path and ascended to godhood, stepping into the legendary realm of immortality. He was invincible and immortal. All the pores on Ling Xiao's body opened up. It was as if there was an indescribable power of law descending from the heavens, pouring into his limbs and bones, strengthening his foundation. Maybe it can be called the extreme path. Every step forces a warrior to reach his limit and see his true self. A look of understanding appeared in Ling Xiao's eyes. The first step was already unbearable for him, and the pressure on the second step was actually twice as much. If so, wouldn't the 3,000 steps increase the pressure by hundreds of millions of times? Perhaps even gods would be suppressed and killed. However, Ling Xiao suddenly realized that this was just an illusion. If he really had this kind of feeling, perhaps he would feel despair in his heart and stop moving forward from then on. The pressure on every step had reached a warrior's limit, but it wasn't unbearable. It required one to give it their all. While enduring the test, one would obtain some kind of fortune. Sure enough, it was just as Ling Xiao had guessed. After some genius disciples ascended a few steps, they instantly seemed as if they were discouraged, and their entire bodies trembled as they were swept down by the terrifying force. Their expressions were ruined, and they didn't have the slightest courage to continue ascending. As for Yu Tianyi, South Celestial Venerable, Moon Goddess, Tan Lang, and the others, although they were standing on the stone steps with trembling bodies and flushed faces, they were all determined people. Every step they took was extremely firm, and they only had eyes for the Divine King Palace above their heads. Just like that, time passed slowly. Many people persevered on the heavenly path. There were also many people who lost their courage and didn't dare to step on the heavenly path again. Yu Tianyi left everyone in the dust. In less than a day, he had already reached the 1,000th step, leaving everyone far behind. Following closely behind him was South Celestial, 930 steps. After that, the most shocking one was Zhao Ritian, who had reached the 920th step. Moon God, 910 stone steps. Greedy Wolf, 800 stone steps. Most of the geniuses had already climbed to the 200th step. They were all sweating profusely, but their eyes were filled with unyielding determination. What caused everyone to reveal strange expressions was that Ling Xiao was actually still stuck at the 30th step. Every time Ling Xiao climbed a step, he would sit on it for 15 minutes to carefully comprehend the pressure and law changes on each step. 36 steps, ha! Ling Xiao is really a piece of trash. He wants to have a death match with South Celestial? The young geniuses who had already given up finally found a target to mock. They were all gloating over Ling Xiao's misfortune. Ling Xiao could be said to be the last person standing on the heavenly path. They understood that the heavenly path was probably some kind of test. It tested one's talent, cultivation, and understanding of the martial Tao laws. Ling Xiao's performance on the heavenly path was even worse than those geniuses from small clans. Overestimating himself, I feel that he can't hold on any longer. He might fall before reaching the 100th step. There's no need for the 100th step. I think he can't even hold on the 50th step. I bet on the 40th step. Everyone mocked and ridiculed him, each of them rejoicing in his misfortune. Chapter 529. 2 days later, Yu Yui was already standing on the 2,000th stone step. South Celestial Venerable had also climbed the 1,820th stone step. Ling Xiao was still on the 70 stone steps. However, to everyone's disappointment, Ling Xiao had yet to fall. Ling Xiao seemed to be maintaining his own rhythm. He would stop for 15 minutes at each stone step. Yu Tianyi, who was at the top, had already begun to feel the pressure and his limit. Every time he broke through his limit, he had to use all his strength to resist. It was as if all the bones in his body were about to shatter. However, Yu Yui could also experience the benefits of this path to heaven. He felt that his Tao foundation had become incomparably sturdy. If he were to leave the path to heaven now, he would definitely be able to break through. In these 2 days, he had broken through his limit countless times. This allowed his comprehension of the martial Tao to progress at a tremendous pace. It was more than what he had gained from cultivating outside for 10 years. 3 days later, Yu Yui stood on the 2,500th stone step. However, he had to expend even more effort to climb each stone step. 3 days later, Ling Xiao stood on the 108th stone step and slowly opened his eyes. A resplendent beam of light shot out. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of understanding. This is the power of the 3,000 Great Tao? Ling Xiao pondered. Through the comprehension of the power of laws on the 108th stone step, Ling Xiao could increasingly feel the vast power of this path to heaven. At this moment, Ling Xiao's body was enveloped in a layer of mysterious aura. He seemed to have fused with the surrounding laws. He no longer resisted the pressure of the power of laws. Instead, he had become a part of the pressure. Buzz. Ling Xiao's body flickered with a faint golden light as he strode towards the 109th stone step. Ling Xiao's steps were very firm. After pausing on the 109th stone step for a moment, he stepped onto the 110th stone step. Ling Xiao's steps became faster and more relaxed. It was as if he was taking a leisurely stroll. What? The people standing below all widened their eyes. Their faces were filled with disbelief. Originally, they thought that Ling Xiao was going to fall. However, they didn't expect Ling Xiao's steps to be so steady. In these 3 days, although Ling Xiao climbed very slowly, he still persevered. Now, Ling Xiao was actually increasing his pace. His steps were getting faster and faster. How did he do it? Someone asked in a trembling voice, as if he had seen a ghost. This kid is too strange. However, he has already fallen behind by so much. Could it be that he really wants to catch up in one go? Hee, the faster you climb, the harder you fall. Just you wait, this brat is going to fall soon. These people who had given up originally found a balance with Ling Xiao. They mocked and ridiculed him without restraint, wanting to prove that Ling Xiao was worse than them who had given up. However, reality slapped them in the face again and again, causing them to become angry out of humiliation. 200 floors, 300 floors, 400 floors, Ling Xiao's footsteps were very steady. When he reached the 631st step, he finally passed a young man in a black robe. Ling Xiao? How can he be so fast? The black-robed young man's face was filled with disbelief, but Ling Xiao still easily overtook him and continued to walk up. The black-robed youth became absent-minded, and an unparalleled pressure erupted. He immediately screamed and fell down from the stone steps. Ling Xiao did not look at him. It was as if his eyes were only focused on the bronze temple in the sky. Moreover, Ling Xiao's steps carried a mysterious rhythm. He quickly overtook one genius disciple after another on the path to the heavens. On the 1,500th step, Southern Sky Sword was originally trying his best to climb up, but when he saw Ling Xiao's figure, he immediately froze. "The bastard? How can he be so relaxed?" Southern Sky Sword said through gritted teeth. His eyes were filled with disbelief. A fierce light suddenly flashed in his eyes. Unparalleled power erupted from his body, and he suddenly slammed towards Ling Xiao. Southern Sky Sword hated Ling Xiao to the extreme. He thought that even if he fell down the path to the heavens, he would knock Ling Xiao down with him. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed, and a mocking smile appeared on his face. In the next moment, the Southern Sky Sword's vision blurred and Ling Xiao was already standing on the stone steps above. The Southern Sky Sword's plan failed and he could no longer endure the unparalleled pressure. He immediately let out a miserable cry and fell down. "Ling Xiao, I won't let you go." Ling Xiao's expression did not change and he continued to climb up. Moreover, the rhythm of his steps became stronger, and it faintly produced a mysterious resonance with the stone steps. Countless geniuses and experts were left behind by Ling Xiao. Even Tan Lang, Qi Sha and Pajun from the 3-star palaces watched in disbelief as Ling Xiao overtook them. Ling Xiao overtook the old goat, Taoist Wuliang Yueshan, and then Zhao Riqian. Ling Xiao, you're too pretentious. But I like it. Ling Xiao, hurry up. Overtake the two idiots, Nan Tianzuan and Yu Yui. The old goat and Taoist Wuliang were eager to see the world in chaos, and they laughed loudly at Ling Xiao. To the old goat and Taoist Wuliang, the path to the heavens was considered useless. They could totally reach the top directly. No one knew what the two of them were thinking, but they were both standing on the 2000th step, and there was no sign of them continuing to climb up. This bastard, he actually overtook me, Zhao Riqian. How dare he overtake me, Zhao Riqian? Zhao Riqian was about to catch up with Nan Tianzuan, but a figure flashed past him lightly. Zhao Riqian was stunned, and he clenched his teeth. Ling Xiao, stop right there. Zhao Riqian's head was heated, and he released a mysterious aura from his body. He actually started to chase after Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He felt a mysterious fluctuation from Zhao Riqian's body, as though it could easily dissolve the pressure of the surrounding laws. It was mysterious and unfathomable. There seemed to be a brilliant sun in Zhao Riqian's body. It was mysterious and vast, and it broke through all restraints. It was ancient and mysterious. This guy's saint body of the sun is strange. It's much stronger than the legendary saint body of the sun. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of suspicion, but he ignored Zhao Riqian. After suppressing the suspicion in his heart, he stepped onto the next stone step and stood beside Nan Tianzuan. Ling Xiao, it's you? Nan Tianzuan's eyes revealed a trace of shock. He knew how terrifying the path to the heavens was. Even if he tried his best to climb it, he could only reach the 2500th step. He was still more than 100 steps away from Yu Yui. Chapter 530. Do you think I should throw you down and make you climb again? Ling Xiao glanced at South Celestial Venerable and smiled faintly. You can try. South Celestial Venerable's eyes glinted coldly. Don't worry, I'm not as shameless as your Nantian family. After the Heavenly God Conference, I'll kill you directly. Ling Xiao said seriously before continuing to climb up. Damn it. South Celestial Venerable looked at Ling Xiao's back and his eyes instantly darkened. Ling Xiao, you bastard, stop right there. Zhao Riqian shouted as he overtook South Celestial Venerable and chased after Ling Xiao. South Celestial Venerable's face froze again. He knew the guy in front of him as well. He was the newly recruited 10th saint of the Sun Palace Master. However, South Celestial Venerable didn't take him seriously because he was only in the noble realm. But now, he had overtaken South Celestial Venerable? South Celestial Venerable couldn't accept this at all. His eyes were filled with coldness. Boom! Purple clouds filled the air as a terrifying power exploded from South Celestial Venerable. It broke through the surrounding pressure of the laws and he instantly quickened his pace. Ling Xiao and Zhao Riqian, one in front and one behind, headed towards the end of the path to heaven. At this moment, Yu Tianyi had also reached the 2800th step. Before he could even catch his breath, he saw Ling Xiao and Zhao Riqian rushing up from beside him. What? Yu Tianyi's eyes were filled with shock. The scariest part of the path to heaven was recorded clearly in the records of the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon. Even the most outstanding genius in the history of the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon couldn't reach the top so quickly. However, Ling Xiao and Zhao Riqian didn't seem to be affected at all. They overtook Yu Tianyi directly, which was a huge blow to him. Ling Xiao and Zhao Riqian, the 10th saint of the Sun Palace? Yu Tianyi's eyes glinted. He then took a deep breath to suppress the shock in his heart and continued to climb up step by step. He was a person with a strong mind. Although he was shocked, he quickly adjusted himself and wasn't affected at all. Ling Xiao and Zhao Riqian reached the 3000th step almost at the same time. Rumble! Like a great bell, a terrifying thunderous sound exploded in Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness. At this moment, his entire body was emitting resplendent rays of light. His sea of consciousness was clear and pure, and mysterious runes rose from his body. It was as if he had ascended to godhood. A powerful phenomenon erupted from his body. Ling Xiao felt his entire body relax as if he had cast off a layer of shackles. his limbs and bones felt warm and comfortable, and the power of his primordial spirit actually increased by another level at this moment. Ling Xiao could feel that his physique had undergone another transformation. Originally, Ling Xiao had started off as a good-for-nothing, but his body had slowly risen to the level of a king. At this moment, Ling Xiao's entire body was glowing, and the power of laws filled the air. It was as if a layer of Tao laws had been carved into his body, and he had completely transformed into a supreme body. Even in the entire war god continent, Ling Xiao was considered a top genius. In terms of physique alone, Ling Xiao was no weaker than South Heaven Venerable and Yu Yui. On Zhao Ritian's body, there was also a phenomenon rising. It was a resplendent divine sun that was emitting boundless light and heat. It was obvious that he had also received a great transformation. Ling Xiao, if it wasn't for the fact that I wanted to experience more on the stone steps, I would have reached the top a long time ago. Although your talent is all right, you are still lacking compared to me, Zhao Ritian. Continue to work hard, ha. Zhao Ritian looked at Ling Xiao's smug face, turned around arrogantly, and walked towards the palace of deities with his head held high. Ling Xiao smiled and ignored him. He planned to take a look at the so-called palace of deities as well. However, when Ling Xiao saw the old goat and Taoist Wu Yang on the stone steps, his eyes revealed a strange expression. Haha, I opened this path, I planted this tree. If you want to pass, you have to pay for the path. The few of you, 10,000 pure yang pills each. The old goat stood on the stone steps with a sneaky look. Together with Taoist Wu Yang, they blocked everyone. Plus, the old goat and Taoist Wu Yang were blocking people from Nantian clan and Star Palace who were hostile to Ling Xiao. They wouldn't let them pass if they didn't give them pure yang pills. In the beginning, there were still some who were unwilling. They were even prepared to rush up and kick the old goat and Taoist Wu Yang down the stone steps. In the end, the old goat gave each of them a hoof and kicked them down the stone steps. Immediately, everyone became obedient. Why do you only take our pure yang pills and not theirs? A disciple from Star Palace glared at the old goat. The old goat didn't make things difficult for disciples from Sword God Pavilion, Zhenbao Pavilion and other sanctuaries. However, he liked to make things difficult for Nantian clan and Star Palace. I'm happy, I'm willing. Are you going to pay? If you aren't, don't blame me for throwing you down. The old goat glanced at him and said lazily, I'll pay. The disciple from Star Palace clenched his teeth. 10,000 pure yang pills wasn't a small price for him. It cost him a lot. His eyes were filled with heartache and anger. However, they didn't dare to resist. Who knew that the old goat and the stinky Taoist were so evil? It was as if they weren't afraid of the pressure from the road to heaven. There were more than 100 genius disciples from Nantian family and Star Palace who had climbed up the stone steps. In total, they had earned more than 1,000,000 pure yang elixirs. The old goat and Taoist Wu Yang were overjoyed and they started to extort even more. Here's 10,000 pure yang pills. Nantian Sword was there too. His eyes were filled with anger and unwillingness. However, he had already been kicked down by Ling Xiao once. At that moment, he didn't dare to force them. He only wanted to wait until they reached Divine King Palace to ask his brother to teach the old goat and Taoist Wu Yang a lesson. 10,000 pure yang pills? Not enough. You have to pay 100,000, no, 200,000 pure yang pills. The old goat looked at Nantian Sword maliciously. 200,000 pure yang pills? You're robbing me. I didn't. Nantian Sword said angrily. His eyes were filled with anger. TSK. As the third young master of Nantian clan, you don't even have 200,000 pure yang pills. Then why are you climbing the road to heaven? Go home and drink your mother's milk. Taoist Wu Yang chuckled and blocked Nantian Sword like a door god. As long as Nantian Sword didn't hand him over, he wouldn't let him go. Nantian Sword's eyes were about to spit fire. However, he couldn't do anything at that moment. Everyone around him looked at him with sympathy. As the third young master of Nantian clan, he was being extorted by these two unscrupulous guys and he couldn't do anything about it. Alright, I'll give it to you. Don't regret it. Nantian Sword said while gritting his teeth. His heart was bleeding. Although he was the third young master of Nantian clan, his status was far from South Celestial Venerable. 200,000 pure yang pills was almost half of his wealth. Chapter 5:31. Naturally, Southern Sky Sword wasn't willing to leave the path to heaven just like that. He was counting on the supreme inheritance and treasures in the Palace of Deities. Good boy. Remember to climb slowly. Don't fall down again. Otherwise, you'll have to pay another 200,000 pure yang pills. Old Goat reminded him kindly. Southern Sky Sword's face stiffened and he was about to vomit blood. His face was ghastly pale as he climbed up quickly. He was so angry that he didn't want to see Old Goat and Taoist Wuliang anymore. Ling Xiao smiled bitterly and shook his head. The two of them had revealed their true nature again. They were just like bandits who wanted to rob people on the road. He hoped that the two of them would restrain themselves in this life. They wouldn't end up like in his previous life, where everyone would want to beat them up and every martial arts sanctuary would gnash their teeth in anger. However, it was good to teach the people from Nantian family and Star Palace a lesson and collect some interest. Ling Xiao smirked. He didn't continue to look at them. Instead, he turned around and walked towards the Palace of Deities. The Palace of Deities in front of them was located in the endless chaos and it gave out an ancient and eternal aura. It was made of bronze and it looked perfect. However, there were mysterious Taoist rhymes intertwining. Divine chains of order stretched across the sky, making the entire Palace of Deities look mysterious and majestic. Standing before the Palace of Deities, Ling Xiao and Zhao Ritian felt that they were as small as ants. Ha! There really is the supreme inheritance here. It will definitely belong to me, Zhao Ritian. Zhao Ritian's eyes were filled with excitement. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he saw Zhao Ritian standing in front of an ancient stone tablet. On the stone tablet, there was a line of 16 ancient words. Unparalleled blood, undying fighting soul, real dragon fate, inheritance of the Supreme King. What does this mean? Is this the condition to open the Palace of Deities? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with a glint. A person with unparalleled blood, undying fighting soul, and real dragon fate. Could it be that he could only obtain the Supreme King's inheritance when all three conditions were fulfilled? Zhao Ritian, do you know what unparalleled blood, undying fighting soul, and real dragon fate are? Ling Xiao looked at Zhao Ritian and asked. Isn't that simple? Zhao Ritian smiled proudly and said, I, Zhao Ritian, was born with the holy sun body. This peerless blood is naturally my blood. The immortal fighting soul is naturally my primordial spirit. I, Zhao Ritian, will definitely become the #1 honorable in the world in the future. This true dragon fate is naturally referring to me. This means that only I, Zhao Ritian, can obtain the deity king's inheritance. Ling Xiao was speechless. Zhao Ritian was the only person he had ever seen who could be so arrogant to such an extent and also possessed such a peerless talent. However, Ling Xiao really didn't know how to refute him. The stone tablet was black, and it faced the center of the gate of the Divine King Palace. It was placed flat on the ground, and the 16 ancient words were all sunken, as if they could bear something. Ling Xiao gently touched the stone tablet. The stone tablet was as smooth as jade, but the 16 ancient words gave off a bone-chilling coldness. Zhao Ritian and Ling Xiao had tried to open the door of the Palace of the Deity, but they were unable to open it. Outside the Palace of the Deity, there was only this stone tablet. It seemed like the 16 ancient words were the key to opening the Palace of the Deity. Ling Xiao's eyes lit up. These 16 ancient characters seemed to have some sort of magical power. When Ling Xiao took a closer look, he realized that every single one of these characters seemed to be hiding a mysterious world within them. A mysterious aura spread out, and the ancient words gave Ling Xiao a very familiar feeling. This feeling? Is it the ancient words in the black coffin on the Netherworld ship? Ling Xiao's eyes widened, and he suddenly recalled the 81 ancient words that he had carved in the black coffin on the Netherworld ship. They were very similar to the 16 ancient words before him. At this moment, the wordless book in Ling Xiao's mind trembled slightly, and the 81 ancient words appeared on the wordless book. When Ling Xiao touched the 16 ancient characters, a mysterious power gushed out from his palm. The 16 ancient characters turned into 16 small tadpoles, instantly merging into Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness and engraving themselves on the wordless heavenly book. The 97 ancient words intertwined with each other, and they were arranged in a shape that Ling Xiao could not understand. Eventually they fell silent. As for the 16 ancient words, they no longer had the same coldness as before. They seemed to have lost some kind of spiritual fluctuation. Ling Xiao glanced at Zhao Ritian without batting an eyelid. When he realized that Zhao Ritian was still studying the door of the palace of the deity, he heaved a sigh of relief. Ling Xiao had a vague feeling that the 16 ancient words were of great importance. They might contain some kind of shocking secret. The goddess stone in his storage ring began to tremble. Even though it was separated by a mustard seed space, the goddess stone seemed to have sensed a mysterious aura, and it began to emit a resplendent light. It is indeed related to the palace of the deity. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. However, he did not take out the goddess stone immediately. Instead, he sat down in front of the palace of the deity. The ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon must have a way to open the palace of the deity, since the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon had organized the Heavenly God Conference. Ling Xiao wanted to see what Yu Yui had in mind. Zhao Ritian studied it for a while, but he was disappointed to find that there was no way to open the door of the palace of the deity. Second uncle, is there really the inheritance of the deity in the palace of the deity? Zhao Ritian asked in his heart. This ancient bronze palace is extraordinary. It should have been left behind by the Scarlet Dragon War God. If you can obtain the inheritance of the palace of the deity, you will have struck gold. Second uncle's voice was solemn as he said slowly. Scarlet Dragon War God? The most powerful person in the War God continent 1,000,000 years ago? Legend has it that he has already ascended to the realm of the gods. Is this really the inheritance he left behind? Second uncle, you have no way to open the door of the palace of the deity? Zhao Ritian's eyes lit up as he asked hurriedly. Unparalleled blood, undying fighting soul, and life providence of the true dragon. If you want to open the palace of the deity, you have to rely on these few words. Second uncle said slowly. Could it be that I am not qualified? Zhao Ritian was unconvinced. That is hard to say. That's hard to say. The peerless blood should be the blood of a peerless powerhouse. At the very least, it should be the blood essence of a titled supreme to be considered peerless. The undying battle soul is a soul that cannot be extinguished even after 100 deaths. Only a supreme battle spirit might barely qualify. As for the true dragon fate, it might be that brat Ling Xiao. Second uncle's voice had a trace of surprise. Life providence of the true dragon? Ling Xiao? That's impossible, right? Zhao Ritian's eyes were filled with disbelief. I am only guessing. Ling Xiao should have the bloodline of the dragon tribe. As for whether he has the life providence of the true dragon, it should be clear later. Second uncle said slowly. Ling Xiao and Zhao Ritian sat down to adjust their breathing. They were prepared to wait for Yu Yu and the rest to arrive. A few hours later, Yu Yu and Southern Celestial Venerable stepped onto the 3,000th stone step. A powerful vision rose from their bodies and their auras became even stronger. The voracious wolf Starchild, 7 kills Starchild, Vanquisher Starchild, Moon Goddess and the rest quickly stood in front of the palace of the deity. Everyone's eyes were filled with anticipation as they looked at Yu Yui. Chapter 5:32. This time, the Heavenly God Assembly had attracted several thousand geniuses, but in the end only 200 or so of them had reached the Heavenly God realm and reached the end of the path to the heavens. A few days passed in the blink of an eye. Everyone had reached the 3,000th step, exhausted. However, they could feel the changes in their bodies. They were pleasantly surprised and their eyes were filled with excitement. The gate of the Divine King's palace was tightly shut. There was only a stone tablet in front of them with 16 ancient words emitting a mysterious glow. Peerless blood, undying fighting soul, true dragon fate, inheritance of the Divine King. Your Highness, peerless blood, undying fighting soul, true dragon fate, What do these 3 sentences mean? A young talent couldn't help but ask. Everyone had tried, but the gate of the Divine King's palace couldn't be opened. The key to opening the Divine King's palace should be on this stone tablet. Everyone, the divine stone has existed in the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon for countless years. Our ancestors have entered the heavenly god realm countless times, but they have never opened the Divine King's palace. Yu glanced at the crowd and smiled. However, after the research of countless ancestors of the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon, in order to open the Divine King's palace, one must meet these 3 conditions on the day of the alignment of 9 stars. Only then can one open the Divine King's palace and obtain the inheritance within. The so-called peerless blood refers to the blood essence of various peerless physiques. We have the heavenly bestowed divine physique, sacred sun physique, sacred moon physique, heavenly master divine physique, and various supreme bloodlines. Therefore, the blood essence in everyone's body is the peerless blood. Yu looked at the Jiang family's heavenly bestowed divine physique, Zhao Ritian, moon goddess, and South Celestial Venerable. He's lying. The old goat sneered and transmitted his voice to Ling Xiao. Don't be anxious. Let's see what he will do. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and transmitted his voice. Therefore, this is the reason why we are holding the Heavenly God Convention. We must gather the blood essence of various peerless physiques in order to open the Divine King's palace. Yu glanced at the crowd and said slowly, "What about the undying battle soul and true dragon fate?" South Celestial Venerable's eyes flashed as he asked. Yu smiled faintly and said, "The so-called immortal fighting soul is the fighting soul of a peerless expert. All of your peerless physiques have been passed down from your ancestors. Only peerless experts can pass down their peerless physiques. Hence, all of your primordial spirits have a trace of indestructible characteristics. When all of your primordial spirits gather, it will become the immortal fighting soul. As for the true dragon fate chart, all of you are peerless geniuses, so your fate charts are naturally indescribably precious. With so many of us gathered together, we naturally have the true dragon fate chart." Hearing Yui's words, some of the people started to get excited. Their eyes were filled with anticipation. However, people like Celestial Venerable Nan, Zhao Ritian, Greedy Wolf Star Child, Moon God, and the others weren't excited by Yui's words. Instead, their eyes were filled with vigilance. After all, this was the Celestial Rock. The ancient kingdom of Dragon had studied it for countless years. If they wanted to do something on a rainy day, it was entirely possible. Everyone believed that the ancient kingdom of Dragon wouldn't risk offending so many sacred grounds. Otherwise, the anger of so many martial arts sacred grounds would definitely destroy the ancient kingdom of Dragon. As long as we drip our essence blood on this stone tablet and imprint a trace of our primordial spirit on it, we will be able to gather the power of many geniuses and open the Divine King's palace. Yu glanced at the crowd and smiled. I know that all of you are still confused, but I will be the first to give it a try. Opening the Divine King's palace requires everyone to contribute their essence blood and a trace of their primordial spirit. If you are unwilling to do so, you can leave now. You are not allowed to enter the Divine King's palace. After entering the Divine King's palace, whether or not you can find the opportunity will depend on your own abilities. After Yu finished speaking, he walked to the front of the stone tablet. With a flash of light in his hand, his palm was cut open. A faint golden drop of blood, like a tiny true dragon, emitted a mysterious dragon's aura and dripped onto the stone tablet. Buzz. At this moment, the stone tablet started to shine brightly. The words "unparalleled blood" lit up. From between Yu's eyebrows, a trace of his primordial spirit fell onto the stone tablet. The words "undying fighting soul" and "real dragon's fate" also lit up. Only the words "inherited divine king" were still dim. Everyone, when the words "inherited divine king" light up, it will be the time for the Divine King's palace to open. Yu's eyes shone brightly as he spoke slowly. After Yu, the geniuses from the ancient kingdom of Green Dragon did not hesitate. They walked forward and imprinted their essence blood and primordial spirit on the stone tablet. The stone tablet shone brighter. I believe in the Crown Prince. Disciples of the Star Palace, follow me to open the Divine King's Palace. Qi Sha, Pajun and Tan Lang looked at each other and nodded their heads slowly. They did not think that a drop of essence blood and a trace of primordial spirit would affect them. If the Divine King's Palace really contained the inheritance of the Divine King, it would definitely be the most precious place of inheritance in the War God mainland. With Qi Sha, Pajun and Tan Lang taking the lead, the geniuses from the Star Palace imprinted their essence blood and primordial spirit on the stone tablet. We believe in the Crown Prince. The opening of the Divine King's Palace is right in front of us. It's just a drop of essence blood and a trace of primordial spirit. Me too. The crowd saw that Yue, Tan Lang and the rest had done it, and it did not affect the stone tablet at all. The stone tablet shone and there was a mysterious power that filled the air. The opening of the Divine King's Palace was right in front of them. Suddenly, the crowd let go of their worries and started to contribute their essence blood and primordial spirit. Ling Zhao's eyes shone brightly. He could faintly see that when the essence blood and primordial spirit were integrated into the stone tablet seemed to have formed a mysterious connection with the Divine King's Palace. However, there was a shapeless power in the stone tablet that was swallowing all the essence blood and primordial spirit. The crowd also seemed to have a vague connection with the stone tablet. When you drip your essence blood and primordial spirit, wipe out all the imprints and vitality. This stone tablet is strange. Ling Xiao sent a message to the old goat and Taoist Wuliang. There was a tinge of seriousness in his voice. He suddenly felt that the stone tablet was very strange. It was difficult to wipe out the imprints and vitality in the essence blood and primordial spirit. Only honorable experts could barely do it. However, Ling Xiao and the old goat had cultivated the sky-devouring secret skill. It was easy for them to wipe out the imprints and vitality. Taoist Wuliang's method was even more powerful. Hence, Ling Xiao was not worried at all. Alright. Taoist Wuliang and the old goat nodded their heads as a cold light flashed in their eyes. They were almost certain that Yue was up to no good by doing this. The Divine King's Palace could only be opened with such a method. The Divine King's Palace was very strange. In the end, South Celestial Venerable, Zhao Ritian, Yueshan, Ling Xiao, and the rest also integrated their essence blood and primordial spirit into the stone tablet under Yue's watch. When everyone was done, the words Divine King instantly shone with dazzling divine light. Rumble. Chapter 5:33. The Deity King's Palace is open. Everyone, let's go. The Deity King's inheritance is mine. Get out of my way. Let's go. At that moment, everyone went crazy. Their eyes were filled with excitement as they rushed into the Deity King's Palace with all their might. Yue was also the first to rush in. However, Ling Xiao noticed that Yue's lips curled into a strange smile. Let's go in and take a look. Ling Zhao's eyes shone brightly. This place was getting stranger and stranger. If it was as he guessed, this place was not the Deity King's inheritance. It was a trap, a huge trap. Within the Deity King's Palace, auspicious air filled the air. Rays of light shone brightly as runes filled the air. They contained powerful Taoist rhymes as they intertwined with Taoist rhymes. It was as though they were describing the truth of heaven and earth. Chaotic air swirled around as a bright light screen appeared in front of everyone. Within the light screen, there were hundreds of ancient jade books. Mysterious and profound words were engraved on each ancient jade book. 9 revolution chaotic undying scripture. Immeasurable life and death sword. Indestructible saber technique. Great yin-yang scripture. 6 paths of reincarnation fist. Imperial scripture. The ancient jade books shone with a mysterious brilliance as they shimmered with divinity. They looked mysterious and dazzling. On the light screen, there was a very mysterious statue. It was a man with 1,000 arms and 1,000 heads. His eyes shone with a mysterious light as if he could see through the heavens and 10,000 worlds. At the same time, a mysterious message appeared in everyone's mind. I am the skyscraping deity king of the deity world. After 1,000,000 years, I have created 232 God-level unique skills. Anyone who obtains my inheritance will be my disciple. Only those with exceptional blood, undying fighting soul, and true dragon fate can cultivate them. Hearing this piece of information, everyone immediately became excited. The skyscraping deity king had created 232 God-level unique skills. It must be these ancient jade books in front of them. 9 Revolution Chaotic Undying Scripture, Immeasurable Life and Death Sword. These martial arts names sounded extremely domineering. One look and one could tell that they were supreme martial arts that could shake heaven and earth. The skyscraping deity king's inheritance? We're going to be rich. When I obtain the inheritance and become his disciple, what's an emperor? So what if he was a supreme martial artist? I'm destined to ascend and become a god, and I'll never die. The Great Yin Yang Sutra is mine. The 6 Paths of Reincarnation Fist is mine. The Huangji Scripture. I cultivate the great Tao of the human sovereign. This is the supreme technique that suits me the most. Everyone went crazy. Ling Xiao saw that everyone's eyes had turned scarlet. They all rushed towards the ancient jade books and tried to grab them. It was as if their lives depended on it. Even South Celestial Venerable, Greed, and the rest weren't spared. They all rushed towards the jade stone book in the light screen. That's not right. These people don't seem to be in the right state. It's as if they've lost their minds. The skyscraping God King's inheritance has 232 divine grade martial arts? How could this be? There must be something fishy going on. The old goat and Taoist Wuliang furrowed their brows. Their eyes were solemn. Although they felt that something was wrong, they couldn't tell what was wrong. Rumble. The light screen above the void exploded in an instant. The ancient jade books of those geniuses who rushed up instantly turned into a stream of light and merged into their glabella. A mysterious aura exploded. Those geniuses seemed to be breaking through. The noble realm cultivators instantly broke through to the monarch realm, while the monarch realm cultivators directly broke through to the half-step supreme realm. Everyone's aura skyrocketed. South Celestial Venerable actually emitted an aura that swept across the universe. It was as if she was going to prove her Tao and become a supreme being. Only Ling Xiao, the old goat, Taoist Wuliang, Moon God, and Zhao Ritian didn't move. However, Ling Xiao noticed that Moon God and Zhao Ritian were struggling. In the end, their bodies seemed to be out of their control and were about to fly into the void. Come back. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He immediately reached out to pull Moon God and Zhao Ritian back. Rumble. An unparalleled divine power was emitted from their bodies, and the soaring cloud was directly shattered. The 2 mysterious jade books also fused into the sea of consciousness of the Moon God and Zhao Ritian. Damn it! Ling Zhao's eyes flickered with a cold light. He suddenly looked at Yu. At this moment, Yu Tianyi didn't move at all. He stood there and looked at the numerous geniuses in the void. His eyes revealed a trace of scarlet red. He was extremely excited and excited. Why aren't the 3 of you going to choose a god-tier martial art? Yu Yue also saw Ling Xiao and the others. His eyes revealed a trace of light as he smiled. Choose a god-tier martial art? I think it's more like it's been possessed. I didn't expect that there would be an illusory demonic ancient tree here. Ling Zhao's eyes revealed a trace of cold light as he looked at Yu. What? You actually know about the illusory demonic ancient tree? Yu Yue's expression changed in an instant. The smile on his face turned into a cold glint. Rumble. A mysterious aura was emitted from Ling Zhao's body. The void in front of him seemed to have shattered. The divine King Matian was nowhere to be seen. In the divine bronze palace, black mist filled the air. An ancient tree that was 1,000,000 feet tall soared into the sky. It exuded a mysterious aura and was extremely ferocious. The black branches and leaves were like black dragons. They entangled the numerous geniuses. Moreover, there was a black shadow that slowly rushed into their consciousness. Ling Xiao clearly saw that it was the divine souls of the extraterrestrial demons. This wasn't the place of divine King Matian's inheritance. This was just an illusion formed by the illusory demonic ancient tree. Its purpose was to allow the divine souls of the extraterrestrial demons to possess the bodies of these geniuses. Ling Xiao almost fell for it. This illusory demonic ancient tree was far from the one in the longevity secret territory. That tree was only in its infancy stage. At most, it had the combat strength of an emperor. However, this illusory demonic ancient tree had already reached its growth stage. Even a sovereign expert wouldn't be able to discover that this was an illusion. Fortunately, the wordless heavenly book had recovered some of its strength after such a long time. Therefore, it was able to break free from the illusion created by the illusory demonic ancient tree. Buzz. The wordless heavenly book exuded a mysterious light. Strands of runes circled around it and shrouded Ling Xiao, the old goat, and Taoist Wuliang. Taoist Wuliang and the old goat also woke up. They looked at everything in front of them with astonishment. Motherfucker, it's the illusory demonic ancient tree? It's this group of demons again? It's a growing illusory demonic ancient tree. No wonder it's so terrifying. Fortunately, we cut off the imprint and vitality. Otherwise, our blood essence and primordial spirits would be absorbed by the illusory demonic ancient tree. We would definitely be trapped in the illusion forever without any room for resistance. The old goat and Taoist Wuliang revealed a trace of fear in their eyes. Who are you? How do you know about the illusory demonic ancient tree? Yu Yui's eyes were cold. His body exuded a cold and powerful aura. His cultivation had reached the 9th level of the Emperor realm. He was only one step away from breaking through to the half-step sovereign realm. You don't need to know who I am. However, are you really the crown prince of the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon? Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of sharpness. If I'm not mistaken, the crown prince of the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon should be dead by now, right? Now, his physical body has been taken over by an extraterrestrial demon. I really didn't expect this. Chapter 5:34. The illusory demonic ancient tree was 1,000,000 feet tall, towering between heaven and earth. It took root in the primordial chaos and emitted a monstrous baleful aura. The crown of the tree was like a dome that covered the sky and blotted out the sun. The branches and leaves were like black-colored horned dragons that bound up the few hundred genius experts and emitted a strange aura. The illusion demon ancient tree's ability to create illusions was too terrifying. Even South Celestial Venerable, Zhao Ritian, and the others fell for it. Their eyes were red, and their faces were filled with excitement and joy. It was as if they were really inheriting a divine martial art and didn't know that an extraterrestrial demon was trying to take over their bodies. Ling Xiao could tell that the divine souls of those extraterrestrial demons were very powerful. They were at least 9-star celestial demons, and many of them were even celestial demon generals. However, they looked extremely weak, not even 1/10,000th of their peak state. Without the suppression of the illusory fiend ancient tree, they would not have been able to complete the possession. You can actually see my true form? And the 3 of you aren't affected at all? Good, very good. Yu Yui's voice was extremely cold and his eyes revealed an extremely cold divine light. That kind of coldness did not seem human at all. It was filled with indifference and bloodthirstiness, exactly the same as the extraterrestrial demons that Ling Xiao had seen before. Boom! A powerful aura emanated from Yu Yui's body. Black devil chi pervaded the air, making him look incomparably ferocious and terrifying. Hee, a bunch of demon bastards dare to behave atrociously here? A wisp of a sharp glow appeared in Taoist Wuliang's eyes while his aura at the 9th level of the monarch realm instantly erupted. It was ethereal and mysterious, and it seemed like a yin-yang diagram had appeared behind him. It caused him to seem like a heavenly exalt of the Grand Tao, and he was actually not inferior to Yu Tianyi at all. What? Yu Yui's expression changed. He did not expect Taoist Wuliang's cultivation to be so strong. It made him feel an incomparable sense of danger. Rumble. The illusory demon ancient tree exuded a monstrous demonic chi that enveloped Ling Xiao and the other 2. However, it was all repelled by the power of the wordless heavenly book and could not get close to Ling Xiao. If my guess is correct, this God King Palace isn't a place of inheritance at all, but a place to suppress the illusory fiend ancient tree and the otherworldly demons, right? I'm very curious. How did you manage to break free from the seal and possess someone from the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon? Ling Xiao smiled faintly and gestured for Taoist Wu Yang to not make a move for now. You guessed right, this is indeed the place where the experts of my sacred race are sealed. But there is also the inheritance of the Scarlet Dragon War God. It's just that you will never have the chance, huh? Yu Yui's eyes revealed a hint of mockery. Since Ling Xiao was unwilling to make a move, Yu Yui was more than happy to stall for time. As long as the illusory demonic ancient tree completed its possession, it would free up its hands. With the strength of the illusory demonic ancient tree, even a supreme being would not dare to face it head-on. At that time, it would be able to easily crush Ling Xiao and the others. Is there really the inheritance of the Scarlet Dragon War God? Legend has it that the Scarlet Dragon War God was a figure from 1,000,000 years ago. Does that mean you have been sealed for 1,000,000 years? Although I don't know what method you guys used to escape, I'm afraid Yu Yui wasn't the only one who was possessed, right? The Azure Dragon Human Emperor, Yu Renquang, should have been possessed as well, right? Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of light as he slowly spoke. This thought shocked Ling Xiao. The Azure Dragon Human Emperor was a supreme being level expert. Even a supreme being had been possessed. These extraterrestrial demons had truly hidden themselves well. It seemed like the War God continent was about to experience another great upheaval. Hearing Ling Xiao's words, Yu Yui's eyes widened. He didn't expect Ling Xiao to be able to analyze so many things just by analyzing. You're right. The experts of the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon have all been possessed by the experts of my sacred race. Once these geniuses are possessed by the people of my sacred race will be able to invade the various sacred grounds and become the master of the sacred grounds in the future. We will then destroy the sacred grounds from the inside in one fell swoop. The world guarded by the Scarlet Dragon War God will eventually be occupied by my sacred race. So what if you know? Seeing that you will definitely die, I don't mind telling you. Yu Yui coldly glanced at Ling Xiao, his eyes filled with cold killing intent. I didn't expect that the extraterrestrial demons who only know how to kill would also know how to play tricks. Capturing all the geniuses of the sacred grounds in one fell swoop, what a great idea you have. It's just that you can't do anything about the path to heaven. Otherwise, I'm afraid everyone would have been possessed, right? Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of coldness as he sighed inwardly. It seemed like those people who gave up on climbing the path to heaven had escaped a calamity. It seemed like there was indeed a supreme inheritance in the Divine King's palace, and the path to heaven was a test. However, after these extraterrestrial demons broke free from the seal, they used the illusory demon ancient tree in the Divine King's palace to possess the geniuses. The people of the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon had obtained the celestial stone, which was both a blessing and a disaster. It was unknown how many of them had been possessed by the extraterrestrial demons. However, Ling Xiao guessed that the number shouldn't be too many. After all, opening the Divine King's palace once cost a lot. However, if even the Azure Dragon Human Emperor had been possessed, it would be really bad. Don't worry, those who gave up on climbing the path to heaven are all trash. Since they're trash, none of them will survive. I'm getting more and more curious about you now. Ling Xiao, your body is perfect and flawless. It's even stronger than Yu Yui's, and your life force is stronger than many half-step supremes. It's really incredible. Yu Yui glanced at Ling Xiao greedily and laughed. I won't kill you. I'll merge with you. It's your honor. You'll see me standing at the peak of this world, killing my way into the eternal world, and seeing that magnificent and colorful world. Rumble. The illusory demon ancient tree buzzed and trembled. A black divine light gushed out and instantly merged with Yu Yui's body. The reason why Yu Yui talked so much nonsense to Ling Xiao was to stall for time. Now that the illusory fiend ancient tree had pulled many of the genius disciples into a deep illusion, it could finally free itself to lend Yu Yu an unparalleled power. Yu Yui's cultivation began to skyrocket. In an instant he broke through to the half-step Supreme Being realm. Moreover, it was getting stronger and stronger. When it was only a fine line away from the Supreme Being realm, It gradually calmed down. Ling Xiao, do you really think I don't know that you're stalling for time? However, this won't change anything. Catch him, don't damage my body. As for the two of you, go to hell. Chapter 5:35. Rumble. A few thick branches and leaves swept across the sky like black chains, sealing everything and transforming into a monstrous giant net, shrouding towards Ling Xiao. Yu slammed his palm across the sky and a terrifying demonic light gushed out, causing the void to tremble violently. It suddenly pressed down on the old goat and Taoist Wuliang. Yu Tianyi, you're stalling for time, but I'm doing the same. Your mistake is that you shouldn't have targeted me. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of cold sharpness. His body instantly emitted a mysterious and terrifying aura. Rumble. The goddess stone flew out from the longevity ring and instantly exploded in midair. Next, a black-colored scroll flew out from it, flowing with a mysterious light. Unfurling the scroll, countless runes spread out and a resplendent divine light sprayed out from it. It appeared majestic and quaint. Next, two ancient and mysterious characters flashed out from the surface of the scroll. Demon Seal. The scroll flew into the void and endless brilliance sprinkled down like rain. It was mysterious and unfathomable, containing an aura that could seal the heavens and destroy everything. When Ling Xiao was talking to Yu, he had secretly cut open the goddess stone and saw the demon seal scroll in the goddess stone. Ling Xiao instantly understood the aura that could seal everything. It turned out that the demon seal scroll was a supreme treasure that could restrain the extraterrestrial demons and the illusory demonic ancient tree. Rumble. The aura emitted by the demon seal scroll was incomparably mysterious. The branches of the illusory demonic ancient tree that were reaching toward Ling Xiao seemed to have been electrocuted and retracted instantly. Moreover, Ling Xiao could feel a wave of fear and dread from the illusory demonic ancient tree. The moment the demon seal scroll appeared, the entire divine king palace began to tremble. Strands of mysterious light spread out and endless divine chains of order rushed out from the divine king palace. All of them gathered on the demon seal scroll and enveloped the illusory demonic ancient tree below. Lightning flashed across the sky, blazing and dazzling. Large amounts of demonic aura turned into nothingness. A powerful force that caused the heavens and earth to tremble pressed down. Endless divine light drowned the illusory demonic ancient tree. What? How can you mobilize the power of the divine king palace? This is impossible. Yui's expression changed drastically while a trace of extreme terror appeared in his eyes. The energy that the illusory fiend tree lent him had actually instantly collapsed, and his cultivation fell back to the 9th rank of the monarch realm. Who told you to be arrogant in front of me? I'll kill you, you son of a bitch. The old goat's eyes lit up. Taking advantage of the moment when Yui was absent-minded, it instantly moved behind Yui and kicked his head with its hoof. It was as if a star had smashed into his head. His body trembled, and he almost fell from the sky. Boom! Taoist Wuliang chuckled and slapped Yui's face. Yui was immediately sent flying and smashed onto the ground. Rumble. The demon sealing scroll emitted boundless divine light. Even the wordless heavenly scripture rushed out of Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness. The two supreme treasures drew upon the power of the godly king palace to suppress the phantom demon tree. The phantom demon tree struggled violently. Its huge and thick branches were like black dragons that swept in all directions. Waves of powerful illusory energy rushed towards Ling Xiao, and it contained an extremely sharp spiritual shock wave. However, Ling Xiao had the wordless heavenly scripture to protect him, and the attacks of the phantom demon tree were all blocked. Countless divine chains of order enveloped the phantom demon tree, but it was still struggling desperately. It was unwilling to be sealed again. The genius disciples that were bound by the phantom demon tree fell down. They slowly woke up after the illusory energy was broken by the wordless heavenly scripture. What happened? Where's my great yin-yang scripture? What? How dare you take over my body? Get lost. What kind of monster is this? My God, how can there be such a tall demonic tree? It's definitely a demonic tree. Many genius disciples turned pale with fright. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. Some of them instantly realized that the divine souls of the extraterrestrial demons were trying to take over their bodies, and they immediately went all out. Although most of the divine souls of the extraterrestrial demons were comparable to Supremes, they had been sealed for 1,000,000 years, and their power was depleted. They were no match for these genius disciples. Otherwise, the phantom demon tree wouldn't have needed to pull these people into the illusory realm before they could take over their bodies. Celestial Venerable Nan Yueshan, Zhao Ritian, and the others were the first to kill the divine souls that wanted to take over their bodies. However, some of the genius disciples weren't so lucky. Some of the divine souls saw that they couldn't take over their bodies, and they self-destructed in the sea of consciousness, taking the genius disciples with them. Everyone has been taken over by the extraterrestrial demons. There's no supreme inheritance here, it's a trap. Everyone, leave this place quickly. I'll hold the phantom demon tree back. Ling Xiao quickly said to the crowd. What? Yue has been taken over by the extraterrestrial demons? This news was like a sudden clap of thunder, and everyone was stunned. However, when they saw Yue, who was fighting with the old goat and Wuyang spiritual master in the distance, and the demonic aura around him, and the cold aura was exactly the same as that of the phantom demon tree, they understood even though they still had many doubts. Bastard, how dare you lie to us? I already knew that there was something wrong with you. Everyone attack together and kill him. Kill Yue and avenge our dead junior brother. Everyone looked at Yue in the distance, and their eyes were filled with hatred. Although the illusory realm was broken, the self-destruction of the divine souls of the extraterrestrial demons still led to the death of hundreds of genius experts. It could be said that there were heavy casualties. Everyone's eyes turned red, and they wanted to rush up and kill you. Ling Xiao, you ruined my plans. I won't let you go. Just you wait. Yue suddenly looked at Ling Xiao, and his eyes were filled with hatred and anger. He knew that he couldn't stay here for long, and he wasn't a match for everyone alone. Boom! A powerful aura exploded from Yue's body, and he instantly broke free from the encirclement of the old goat and Wuyang spiritual master. He endured a blow from the two of them, and rushed out of the God King Palace without looking back. Chase, we must kill you. Everyone leave quickly. We can't let him go. Yue has been taken over by the extraterrestrial demons. So wouldn't the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon become a demon's nest? Quickly go and report to the elders. We can't let the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon go. Many genius disciples pondered for a moment, and their expressions became extremely serious. This matter was too serious, and could possibly shake the whole War God continent. Who knew how many people in the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon had been taken over by the extraterrestrial demons? These people were the source of disaster, and had to be eliminated. Thank you, Brother Ling, for saving my life. I can't thank you enough. In the future, Brother Ling will be my benefactor when you come to our Four Symbols sect. Thank you, Brother Ling. Brother Ling, be careful. We'll leave first. Everyone looked at Ling Xiao with an extremely grateful expression. If Ling Xiao hadn't broken the illusory realm just now, they probably wouldn't even know that they had been taken over. Everyone was grateful to Ling Xiao from the bottom of their hearts. At this moment, Ling Xiao was holding the demon sealing scroll and the wordless heavenly book, and mobilizing the power of the God King Palace to seal the illusory demon ancient tree. The wordless heavenly book, especially, seemed to have turned into a huge vortex, and was wantonly devouring the power of the illusory demon ancient tree. Chapter 5:36. Second uncle, he's in the limelight again. Zhao Ritian looked at Ling Xiao with displeasure. Cut the crap and let's go. Even I was almost tricked just now. Ling Xiao has the wordless heavenly book? No wonder. Ritian, you must find a way to kill Ling Xiao in the future and snatch the wordless heavenly book. Second uncle's voice rang in Zhao Ritian's heart with excitement. Wordless heavenly book? What kind of treasure is that? Zhao Ritian's eyes lit up. The wordless heavenly book is a supreme treasure left behind by the Scarlet Dragon War God. I didn't expect it to fall into Ling Xiao's hands. No wonder he's so demonic. Let's leave this place first and think of a plan. Second uncle said. The Scarlet Dragon War God's treasure? Did Ling Xiao obtain the inheritance of the Scarlet Dragon War God? Zhao Ritian was stunned and his eyes were filled with jealousy. He, Zhao Ritian, was a genius and had the Sun Saint body. How could the Scarlet Dragon War God be interested in Ling Xiao instead of him? Zhao Ritian was depressed, but he listened to second uncle's words and left the deity king's palace. The illusory demonic ancient tree was too strange. Even second uncle was wary of it. If Ling Xiao couldn't seal the illusory demonic ancient tree, he would be in deep trouble. Ling Xiao, be careful. The moon goddess looked at Ling Xiao worriedly. Finally, under Ling Xiao's urging, she turned around and left. South Celestial Venerable also saw the wordless heavenly book in the void, and his eyes were filled with shock and greed. The wordless heavenly book is indeed with you. South Celestial Venerable looked at Ling Xiao with cold murderous intent. Ling Xiao's heart sank. South Celestial Venerable knew about the wordless heavenly book? Ling Xiao, I'll wait for you outside. Don't forget about our life and death battle. If you die, the wordless heavenly book will be mine. Ha! South Celestial Venerable sneered and turned into a ray of light as he left the deity king's palace. How does he know about the wordless heavenly book? Does he have something left behind by the Scarlet Dragon War God? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed coldly. When Celestial Venerable Nan recognized the wordless heavenly book, he wanted to strike first and kill Celestial Venerable Nan first. Unfortunately, both the wordless heavenly book and the demon sealing scroll were suppressing the phantom fiend ancient tree. South Celestial Venerable seemed to know that this place was disadvantageous to him and left decisively. Ling Xiao, Yui's methods are strange. He escaped with all his might. Can you seal this illusory fiend ancient tree? The old goat and Taoist Wu Yang came to Ling Xiao's side with worry in their eyes. The illusory demonic ancient tree in its growth period was comparable to a supreme being powerhouse. Even with the demon sealing scroll and the wordless heavenly tome, the wordless heavenly tome was still struggling violently, unwilling to be sealed. Old goat, let's use the heaven-devouring secret skill together and devour this phantom fiend ancient tree. This illusion fiend ancient tree is much stronger than the one in the secret realm of longevity. If you can completely devour it, you might be able to completely heal your Dao injury. A hint of madness appeared in Ling Xiao's eyes. Devour the illusory fiend ancient tree? The old goat was stunned, but his eyes lit up immediately, especially when he thought of the illusory fiend ancient tree's essence, the heart of the illusory fiend ancient tree. He was extremely excited. Motherfucker! The old goat said viciously. Instantly, a powerful aura emanated from his body. The King Heaven Devourer cauldron flew out of his body, emitting a dazzling golden light, and collided with the illusory fiend ancient tree. Rumble! The heaven-devouring golden lotus flew out from Ling Xiao's body and expanded to 1,000 feet in size. Golden lotus flowers bloomed, thousands of auspicious colors, and tens of thousands of rays of light, holy and mysterious. The golden vortex began to move wildly, continuously devouring the black mist. Moreover, when the heaven-devouring golden lotus came in contact with the illusory fiend ancient tree's branches, the thick dragon-like branches instantly withered, as though all of its power had been drained away. Ha! Crazy enough. Count me in. Taoist Thoughtless said, his eyes shining brightly. At the same time, a celestial appeared behind him, with a sun and a moon above his head and primal chaos beneath his feet. The celestial began to speak in ancient, cryptic language. His voice was like a great bell, as though he were expounding upon the most profound truths of heaven and earth. Then, a powerful gravitational force erupted, and the towering devil energy of the illusory fiend ancient tree surged toward the celestial. The pure devil chi was refined and eventually turned into a powerful force, becoming a part of Taoist Wu Yang's cultivation. His aura was getting stronger and stronger, and there was a mysterious aura about him that seemed to be about to ascend. The wordless Heaven Devourer cauldron, the Heaven Devourer golden lotus, and the celestial behind Taoist Thoughtless became 4 terrifying vortexes that began to devour the power of the illusory fiend ancient tree. Ryumble. The illusion demon Ancient Tree seemed to have sensed the threat of death as well. It struggled with all its might. The surrounding void was destroyed as cracks ran through the sky. The terrifying power wanted to destroy everything. Unfortunately, the power of the Devil Sealing Scroll was too strong, and combined with the sealing power of the God King Palace, it was impossible for the illusory fiend Ancient Tree to escape. Crack! A huge hole was blasted open in the trunk of the illusory fiend Ancient Tree. The divine souls of the otherworldly demons roared in anger as they attempted to flee, but the wordless heavenly scroll crushed them and turned them into pure primordial spirit energy that fused with Ling Zhao's primordial spirit. The power of the illusory demon Ancient Tree was too majestic. It was comparable to the illusory demon Ancient Tree of a supreme being expert, but the power it contained was 10 times or even 100 times more than a supreme being expert. Even a paragon might explode if they were to recklessly devour so much energy. Ling Zhao's cultivation base instantly broke through to the 10th level of the noble realm. Violent energy spread out, and Ling Zhao's cultivation base seemed to be on the verge of breaking through to the monarch realm. No, I can't break through like this. A trace of clarity appeared in Ling Zhao's eyes. He had only cultivated the 10 supreme divine abilities, and while that was already considered earth-shattering for ordinary people, it was still insufficient. In fact, it couldn't even compare to what Ling Zhao had accumulated in his previous life. Rashly breaking through would only make Ling Zhao's future path even more difficult. Ling Zhao forcibly suppressed the fluctuations of his breakthrough, causing his cultivation base to remain at the 10th level of the noble realm. The boundless energy had all fused into Ling Zhao's body. Since that's the case, I'll break through to the celestial dragon body in one go. A trace of madness appeared in Ling Zhao's eyes. Chapter 537. The body of the heavenly dragon was invincible in the monarch realm. If he broke through to the body of the heavenly dragon, then Ling Zhao would have the strength to fight and even crush those peerless geniuses in the monarch realm or even half-step supremes. Ling Zhao had already gathered the true dragon pearl and the various herbs he needed. Now was the best time to break through. Ling Zhao sat cross-legged in the void. Even without his control, the demon sealing scroll and wordless heavenly book were enough to suppress the illusory demon Ancient Tree. Moreover, as it continued to devour the illusory demon Ancient Tree's energy, the mysterious aura emitted by the wordless heavenly book grew stronger and stronger, and it faintly caused the void to tremble. The body of the heavenly dragon, the void chi, the might of the heavens, the Tao of the heavens, the path of the heavens, the power of the heavens, shattering the void. The technique of the body of the heavenly dragon slowly flowed in Ling Zhao's heart, and a mysterious aura enveloped him. Ling Zhao exuded a powerful dragon aura. As he operated the ancestral dragon secret skill, a huge golden dragon appeared behind him. It soared into the sky, mysterious and ancient. The surrounding space was filled with endless space. With a roar, it caused the heavens and earth to tremble. The many clouds that Ling Zhao had prepared were instantly swept up by the true devouring flame and turned into a ball of sparkling liquid that wrapped around Ling Zhao. Sparkling, translucent, flawless, and resplendent, Ling Zhao's body changed within the divine light and slowly seemed to merge into one with the huge golden dragon. Rumble! Like a tsunami, the blood in Ling Zhao's body began to surge. A powerful and mysterious force awakened in his bloodline as if it was about to break free from some kind of restraint. But at the last moment, a mysterious chain emerged from his bloodline and completely bound him. Is there still no way to awaken the power of my bloodline? Ling Zhao's eyes revealed a trace of surprise. He originally thought that the power of his bloodline would be awakened when he broke through to the body of the heavenly dragon. But now it seemed that the power of his bloodline was far stronger than he had imagined. His current strength was far from enough to support the awakening of his bloodline. Perhaps it would only be possible after he broke through to the body of the true dragon. Since that's the case, let's break through to the body of the heavenly dragon first. Ling Zhao secretly thought in his heart. The real dragon ball instantly appeared, then turned into a golden stream of light and was instantly wrapped up by the sky-devouring golden lotus. Ling Xiao circulated the ancestral dragon's secret skill cultivation method and began to slowly refine the true dragon pearl. Rumble. The moment it came into contact with the ancestral dragon's secret technique, the true dragon pearl began to tremble. Then, it shone brightly. The multicolored light was dazzling, as if it was going to break through the clouds. There was a kind of dragon might that made the sky tremble. The might of the true dragon caused the universe to change color. The true dragon pearl was left behind by a supreme being of the dragon race. It contained the essence of the supreme being's body and even contained martial arts inheritance. It was mysterious and unfathomable. More importantly, the true dragon bloodline contained within could help Ling Xiao break through to the heavenly dragon body. Boom! Under the refinement of the sky-devouring golden lotus, the real dragon pearl exploded with a loud bang. Resplendent rays of light illuminated the heavens and the earth. The real dragon pearl instantly transformed into a 10,000 zhang long true dragon, coiling above the void and enveloping Ling Xiao. The dragon's might was vast, ancient, and mysterious. It was like a divine dragon that wanted to split the heavens and earth apart, shatter the void, and lead to the mysterious and eternal path to the divine realm. Ling Xiao's body instantly became like an immemorial divine mountain. His body emitted a sparkling luster, and there was a faint power of law pervading the air. It made Ling Xiao's body stronger and more terrifying. If the flood dragon body, earth dragon body, and flying dragon body were the most basic stages of the ancestral dragon's secret technique, then the heavenly dragon body began to let Ling Xiao possess the power of the dragon race. He began to possess unparalleled offensive power. The power of the heavenly dragon, the heavenly law embodiment technique, the ability to burn rivers and overturn seas. It possessed the greatest divine ability. Ling Xiao's body seemed to be undergoing some kind of transformation. His body shone with golden light and began to be covered with a layer of golden dragon scales. That was caused by the gathering of the vast energy of the true dragon pearl. It made Ling Xiao's body seem to be transforming into that of the dragon race. At the same time, the divine ability of the martial way contained within the true dragon pearl was vast and mysterious. As the fragments of law were absorbed by him, the power of Ling Xiao's primordial spirit also began to skyrocket. This guy is going to break through again. The old goat pursed his lips. The dragon aura emitted from Ling Xiao's body was more than 100 times stronger than before. If Ling Xiao had not maintained his human form, the old goat would have thought that Ling Xiao had already turned into a real dragon. This is really a stroke of luck. Even without the inheritance of the Supreme Being, the power of the illusory demonic ancient tree is enough for us to recover a lot. Taoist Wu Yang's eyes also revealed a faint light. The commotion caused by Ling Xiao's breakthrough was so great that it woke the two of them up. After glancing at Ling Xiao, the two of them continued to devour the power of the illusory demonic ancient tree to strengthen their cultivation, especially the old goat. His originally heavy Dao injury began to heal at a speed visible to the naked eye. Just as Ling Xiao and the other two were devouring the power of the illusory demonic ancient tree to break through, outside the Empyrean stone, there was an uproar. Yu Yu is not the crown prince of the ancient kingdom of dragon. He has been possessed by the extraterrestrial demon. Capture him. The crowd rushed out of the Empyrean stone. When they saw Yu Yu, who had rushed out earlier than them, their eyes instantly turned bloodshot. They pointed at Yu Yu and shouted, "What?" The words of the many geniuses were like a sudden clap of thunder that stunned everyone. Yu Yu was possessed by the extraterrestrial demon. There is no inheritance of the Supreme Being in the Empyrean stone. There is an illusory demonic ancient tree sealed inside. There are many souls of the extraterrestrial demons on it. Yu Yu lured us into the Empyrean stone so that the souls of the extraterrestrial demons could possess us. He deserves to die. A young genius in a black robe quickly recounted what happened in the Empyrean stone to the crowd. Immediately after, South Celestial Venerable, Moon Deity, Greedy Wolf Star Child, and the others confirmed this matter. What? Capture him? The old monsters of the various sects were both shocked and furious. This Heavenly God Conference was actually Yu Yu's scheme. Almost all the geniuses were captured in one fell swoop. Rumble. At this moment, a cold and vast aura rose from the center of the imperial city. It looked down on all directions and dominated the world. The terrifying fluctuation made everyone tremble in fear. The Azure Dragon Human Sovereign. Someone exclaimed. His eyes were filled with fear. Chapter 5:38. A terrifying figure soared into the sky and stood in the void. The great Tao precepts and divine chains of order intertwined around him. Endless lightning bolts enveloped him, causing the entire heavenly god city to tremble. Your Majesty, I've disappointed you. Yu immediately flew over and knelt down respectfully when he saw the figure. His eyes were filled with fear. You have indeed disappointed me. You're just a bunch of ants. Since I can't subdue you, I'll just kill all of you. A cold and emotionless voice resounded in the void. It was as terrifying as thunder. Everyone's face instantly turned pale. They instantly understood that the Azure Dragon Human Emperor had probably been possessed by the extraterritorial demon. A supreme being expert had dominated the world since ancient times. If he wanted to kill, he could wipe out the entire heavenly god city in an instant. Even a half-step supreme being was just a slightly bigger ant in front of a supreme being expert. One wouldn't know the terror of this realm unless one was a supreme being. Rumble. The Azure Dragon Human Emperor was shrouded in endless lightning. His face couldn't be seen clearly, but his killing intent was as vast as the sea. He slammed his palm down on everyone. It was as if the sky had collapsed, and the world fell into endless darkness. In the face of this palm, even the eyes of those old monsters were filled with despair. Stop! At this moment, a cold voice resounded. The void was torn apart, and a middle-aged man in a purple robe stepped out. His aura wasn't any weaker than the Azure Dragon Human Emperor's as he met the attack with his palm. The two palms collided, and a terrifying divine light storm swept out in all directions. The surrounding palaces instantly exploded, the ground cracked, and the void shattered. A few people who were closer were instantly torn to pieces by the divine power. Everyone felt as if they were struck by lightning. Their faces paled, and they suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. Father is here. South Celestial Venerable was stunned. His eyes revealed a trace of pleasant surprise. He had almost been killed by the Azure Dragon Human Emperor. He didn't expect South Tianjue to return at the crucial moment. South Celestial Venerable felt extremely fortunate. Fortunately, he had found out about the Li family's remnants and informed his father in time. Otherwise, everyone would have died today. South Heaven Ju, why are you here? A cold light flashed in Yu Renquang's eyes as he spoke indifferently. Right now, Nan Tianjue should be in the outer space, comprehending the heavenly heart and heavenly Tao. Like the other Supreme Being experts, he should be wholeheartedly trying to break through to the God Spirit realm. Why would he return to the War God continent? If I hadn't come back, I wouldn't have thought that the human emperor of Azure Dragon would be possessed by an extraterrestrial devil. Let go of my Nantian family. You can kill the others if you want. It has nothing to do with my Nantian family. Nan Tianjue looked at the Azure Dragon Human Sovereign opposite him with a cold glint in his eyes. What? Is Supreme South Heaven giving up on us? When the crowd below heard Nan Tianjue's words, they all revealed shocked and angry expressions. The extraterritorial demons were the enemy of everyone on the War God continent. Everyone should kill them after seeing them. However, Nan Tianjue only cared about the Nantian family and wanted to compromise with the Azure Dragon Human Emperor. Nan Tianju, you think too highly of yourself. Everyone here has to die today, including you. The Azure Dragon Human Emperor sneered as black demonic aura rose from his body. In an instant, an even more terrifying aura exploded. There was a faint fluctuation that could shatter the sky. The aura was so terrifying that it suppressed Nan Tianjue instantly. Nan Tianjue's eyes revealed an extremely solemn expression. Damn it. You're about to take that step? Yu Renquang, since you're courting death, don't blame me for being impolite. Nan Tianjue said coldly as his eyes revealed a tinge of cold murderous intent. Brother Star Palace, Make your move, Nan Tianjue said slowly to the void in the distance. Suddenly, there was a flash of light in the void. Resplendent starlight spread out, holy and mysterious. A young man in white walked out. He had an extraordinary temperament and was untainted by dust. In his eyes, there were stars flickering. He was extremely mysterious. Star Palace's sect master, Star Emperor. Looking at the young man in white, the Azure Dragon Human Emperor's eyes flickered and revealed a solemn expression. If Nan Tianjue was alone, he was confident that he could deal with him. However, with the addition of Star Palace's sect master, Star Emperor, it would be extremely difficult. Star Emperor was unfathomable. It was said that he had lived for almost 10,000 years. Although he looked young, he was older than the Azure Dragon Human Emperor. Extraterrestrial demon. Everyone has the right to kill him. Kill him. After the young man in white appeared, he glanced at the Azure Dragon Human Emperor coldly and instantly attacked. Rumble. Behind him, there seemed to be a divine picture unfolding. Endless starlight sprinkled down, mysterious and unfathomable. Huge stars rotated, carrying unparalleled divine power. They flew across the sky and collided with the Azure Dragon Human Sovereign. Star Map. The Azure Dragon Human Emperor's eyes revealed an extremely fearful expression. He had not expected Star Emperor to bring the Star Map with him. The Star Map was not an ordinary supreme weapon. It was the legendary supreme divine weapon of the divine world. Sush. The Azure Dragon Human Emperor knew that he would not be able to win against Nan Tianjue and Star Emperor, let alone the Star Map in Star Emperor's hands. He suddenly had the intention to retreat. He immediately grabbed Yu Yui and transformed into a streamer that plunged towards the heavens. Where do you think you're going? Killing intent flashed across the eyes of Nan Tianjue and Star Emperor. Since they had decided to kill the Azure Dragon Human Emperor, they would not let him escape. The two of them immediately soared into the sky and chased after the Azure Dragon Human Emperor. Rumble. Above the firmament, thunder filled the air and lightning intertwined. Terrifying divine light crisscrossed. However, the sound was getting weaker and weaker until it finally disappeared. The battle between the three supreme beings was far away from Heavenly God City. No one knew where it had gone. Only then did everyone heave a sigh of relief. Their eyes were filled with incomparable shock. Supreme beings were elusive and rarely seen. Almost all of them were comprehending Tao in the extraterrestrial star world. They rarely came to the God of War continent. Today, three supreme beings had appeared. It was a pity that they would not be able to witness the battle between the three supreme beings. Everyone, we don't know how many people have been possessed by the extraterrestrial demon in the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon. In my opinion, we should capture all the members of the royal family and interrogate them. We should even search their souls. We should only release them after we confirm that they have not been possessed. The greedy wolf star glanced at the crowd and said sinisterly, "That's right. I support Brother Greedy Wolf's opinion. The ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon almost killed all of us in the Heavenly God Stone. They must pay the price." Nan Tianjue sneered. Yu Yui and the Human Emperor have been possessed. This is something that no one would have expected. It has nothing to do with the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon. The members of our royal family are innocent. Don't slander us. A great elder of the Rain clan said furiously. Chapter 539. That's right, big brother. Yu Yu was possessed by the extraterrestrial demon. We didn't know about it at all. We will settle this matter ourselves. It has nothing to do with you. The second prince's face was also very ugly. He was incomparably pale, having suffered a huge blow. He didn't expect the Heavenly God Conference to turn out like this. The news of Yu Renquang and Yu Yu being possessed by the extraterrestrial demon would soon spread throughout the War God continent. It would be a huge blow to the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon. South Sky Sword glanced at Yuanwan, his eyes filled with greed and lust. He sneered and said, "Killing the extraterrestrial demon is everyone's responsibility. No one knows how many people from the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon have been possessed. You all must be checked. Ninth princess, don't worry. I will personally check you, hee. Shameless. Yu Wanwan's eyes turned cold. Her beautiful face was filled with coldness. Everyone from the Nantian family, listen up. Surround the god's stone. When Ling Xiao comes out, capture him. Dead or alive. South Celestial Venerable didn't look at Yu Wanwan and the others. He stared at the god's stone for a while and ordered. The experts from the Nantian family were stunned, but they all faithfully carried out South Celestial Venerable's order and surrounded the god's stone in an instant. South Celestial Venerable, what are you doing? If Ling Xiao didn't save you, you would have been possessed by the extraterrestrial demon. You are biting the hand that feeds you. Moon Deity's eyes revealed a trace of coldness as she said coldly. That's right, South Celestial Venerable. Even if you don't appreciate Ling Xiao saving your life, you don't have to bite the hand that feeds you. The Sword God Pavilion won't let anyone touch Ling Xiao. The successor of the Sword God Pavilion also stood out. His eyes revealed a trace of coldness as sword intent surged around him. It was vast and majestic. That's right, South Celestial Venerable. You and Ling Xiao had a life and death battle, but Ling Xiao saved your life and our lives. Many genius disciples also stood out and glared at the people of the Nantian family. Their eyes were filled with anger. Everyone, it's not that I want to target Ling Xiao. I suspect that Ling Xiao has been possessed by the extraterrestrial demon. South Celestial Venerable said indifferently. Nonsense. The princess of the ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird could not help but smirk coldly and said, if Ling Xiao had been possessed by the extraterrestrial demons, why would he have taken on the illusory demon tree and saved us? South Celestial Venerable, even if you want to slander me, can you please find a more reliable reason? The successor of the Sword God Pavilion said coldly, that's right, South Celestial Venerable, I respect you as a prodigy, but don't talk nonsense without evidence. Of course I have evidence. South Celestial Venerable sneered, think about it carefully, why are we all trapped by the illusion devil ancient tree, but Ling Xiao is completely fine? Moreover, the supreme treasure he used to suppress the illusory demon ancient tree is the demon's sealing scroll left behind by the Scarlet Dragon War God. The God King's inheritance in the Heavenly God Stone must have been obtained by Ling Xiao, otherwise he wouldn't have the demon's sealing scroll. South Celestial Venerable's words stunned everyone, especially those geniuses. The inheritance of Scarlet Dragon War God, it wasn't an exaggeration to call it the #1 inheritance in the War God continent. Moreover, it was strange that Ling Xiao wasn't trapped by the illusion devil ancient tree. They couldn't figure it out. What a joke! Ling Xiao obtained the inheritance of Scarlet Dragon War God and the demon's sealing scroll by chance. What does this have to do with being possessed by the extraterritorial demon? Moon Deity sneered. Of course it's related. South Celestial Venerable said coldly, do you know how powerful the illusion devil ancient tree is? That's an ancient illusory demonic tree in its growth period. Although the demon's sealing scroll is powerful, it's still only a secret treasure. At most, it can trap an ancient illusory demonic tree in its infancy. As for an ancient illusory demonic tree in its growth period, even Supremes would suffer grievances. How could Ling Xiao possibly seal it? Moon Deity's expression changed at South Celestial Venerable's words. She revealed a trace of worry on her face. Second Master, is this guy telling the truth? Ling Xiao couldn't have been killed by the illusion devil ancient tree, right? Zhao Ritian was also stunned by South Celestial Venerable's words. He's just spouting nonsense. Second Master said disdainfully, the demon sealing scroll might not be able to trap the illusion devil ancient tree, but Ling Xiao has the wordless heavenly book. That treasure is the nemesis of the illusion devil ancient tree. It can definitely seal the illusion devil ancient tree. I think this guy is just coveting the inheritance of Scarlet Dragon War God on Ling Xiao. He's just looking for an excuse. Then what should we do? Zhao Ritian asked. Let him do as he pleases. When the Nantian family catches Ling Xiao, it'll be best if they both suffer great losses. Then the wordless heavenly book will be ours. As long as you get the wordless heavenly book, Supremes are nothing. Ascending to godhood is just a matter of time. Okay, I'll listen to second master. Zhao Ritian was overjoyed when he heard that. His eyes were filled with excitement. So, you can imagine. If Ling Xiao is unable to seal the illusory demonic ancient tree, he will definitely be possessed by the extraterrestrial demon on the tree. If he doesn't come out, that means he is truly dead, and we will seal this Empyrean God's stone forever. But if he comes out, he's definitely not Ling Xiao. He's already been possessed by the extraterrestrial demon. We have to kill him, South Celestial Venerable said coldly. His eyes were filled with cold, murderous intent. When everyone heard South Celestial Venerable's words, although they felt a little awkward, it made sense. If Ling Xiao was really possessed by the extraterrestrial demon and he had the inheritance of Scarlet Dragon War God, once he grew up, it would definitely be a disaster for the entire War God continent. Then, South Celestial Venerable threw out an irresistible temptation. I'm doing this for the sake of the people of the War God continent. As long as we kill Ling Xiao, I'll only take back what belongs to the Nantian family. The rest of the treasures, including the inheritance of Scarlet Dragon War God, will be given to everyone. South Celestial Venerable said righteously. Brother Nantian, are you serious? The eyes of Star Palace's Qi Sha, Pajun, and Tan Lang instantly lit up. The inheritance of Scarlet Dragon War God was an earth-shattering supreme treasure. Yet, South Celestial Venerable said he didn't want it? Although they didn't know why South Celestial Venerable chose to give it up, South Celestial Venerable couldn't go back on what he said in public. I'm not lying. South Celestial Venerable smiled faintly. His eyes revealed a trace of sharpness. He only wanted the wordless heavenly book. When the time came, he could find a reason to say that the wordless heavenly book was a treasure cut out from the goddess stone of the Nantian family. Chapter 540. Alright, since Brother Nantian has said so, Star Palace will do something for the sake of the world. Disciples of Star Palace, listen up. Surround the divine stone. As long as Ling Xiao appears, kill him. Tan Lang and the other two's voices were cold. All the experts of Star Palace surrounded the divine stone. The genius disciples who had spoken up for Ling Xiao fell silent. Their eyes shone brightly and no one knew what they were thinking. The inheritance of Scarlet Dragon of War that Holy Master Nan had mentioned was indeed tempting. Only the successor of Sword God Pavilion, Princess of Phoenix Ancient Kingdom, Moon Goddess and a few others insisted on standing on Ling Xiao's side. That's just your guess. What if Ling Xiao can really suppress the illusory demon ancient tree? Whoever dares to touch Ling Xiao will be the enemy of Moon Palace. Moon Goddess's calm and indifferent face revealed a tinge of anger. How could she not know that Holy Master Nan had ulterior motives? He was trying to divide the people with his words and instigate them against Ling Xiao so that he could snatch the treasures from Ling Xiao. What was the so-called life-saving grace in front of the inheritance of Scarlet Dragon of War? That's right. Whoever dares to touch Ling Xiao will be the enemy of Sword God Pavilion. The successor of Sword God Pavilion stood out and his eyes were filled with coldness. Ling Xiao is to my liking. Let's see who dares to touch him. Everyone, don't be so rash. When Ling Xiao comes out, let's make sure that he hasn't been possessed. Before that, no one is allowed to touch him. Granny Guei and the elder of Sword God Pavilion, Jian Bummy, stood out. The aura of half-step to supreme being spread out and caused the void to tremble. Hee, old man, I advise you to stay out of the Nantian family's business. Otherwise, when our master returns after killing Green Dragon Human Emperor, do you dare to go against a supreme being? Nan Tianchi said coldly. The cold aura around him exploded as he contended with Granny Gui and Jian Bummy. Even a supreme being can't be unreasonable. I, Xiong Laohe, will definitely interfere in Brother Ling Xiao's business. Xiong Laohe and the other great demons who were indebted to Ling Xiao also supported Ling Xiao and did not back down. Outside the heavenly divine stone, many experts were confronting each other. It was as if a great battle was about to break out at any moment. The situation could erupt at any moment. Inside the heavenly god stone, Ling Xiao's breakthrough had also reached a critical moment. The dragon's roar shook the heavens, and the dragon's might filled the air. Golden divine light illuminated the heavens and the earth. Ling Xiao sat cross-legged in the boundless void. Golden dragons coiled around him as if he had pierced through the boundless space. The illusory demon ancient tree was close to withering due to the crazy devouring of the three experts. The textless heavenly book was the nemesis of the illusory demon ancient tree. Almost 99% of the tree's power had been devoured by the textless heavenly book. Ling Xiao could see that the golden light enveloping the wordless heavenly book was close to perfection. Countless ancient runes filled the air, as though it was about to manifest another earth-shattering supreme secret technique. Ling Xiao did not notice the changes in the wordless heavenly book. He was completely immersed in the Tao comprehending realm. Ling Xiao felt as if he had transformed into a supreme true dragon, hovering between the heavens and earth of the ancient world. He slaughtered gods and demons and dominated the heavens. The myriad of worlds were praising his brilliance. The spirit of a dragon, the majesty of a dragon, the mystery of a dragon, the attack of a dragon, the nobility of a dragon. All of these had merged into Ling Xiao's body, becoming a part of his bone marrow, becoming an eternal and indestructible characteristic of his primordial spirit. Boom! In the end, the golden dragon formed by the true dragon pearl directly exploded in the void. It was like the explosion of a sun. Endless divine light swept in all directions. Countless runes filled the golden dragon, and multicolored light illuminated the sky. Streams of incomparably mysterious aura merged into Ling Xiao's body, causing his body to become stronger and stronger. Moreover, there was an extreme tearing pain. Ling Xiao felt as if his body was being crushed into powder. In the end, all the pain transformed into an enormous dragon roar that shook the heavens and the earth. Ling Xiao had actually transformed into an enormous golden dragon. It was 30 kilometers long, and it tore through space. Its scales were peerlessly sharp, and its dragon pressure was vast and mysterious. It caused the entire palace to start trembling. The space in the surroundings started to tremble violently as if it was on the verge of being unable to endure the strength of Ling Xiao's body, and then it suddenly exploded apart. He could tear space apart and control the energy of the heavens and the earth by relying solely on the strength of his body. This was the heavenly dragon body. After he broke through to the heavenly dragon body, the secret technique of the ancestral dragon had finally started to erupt with its peerless might of slaughter. It was monstrous, terrifying, and capable of suppressing all enemies. This fellow has actually transformed into a dragon? If it wasn't for the fact that my injuries haven't healed, I would even want to cultivate the secret technique of the ancestral dragon. The old goat opened his eyes wide, and they were filled with extreme surprise and envy. Just this peerless physique of a dragon is sufficient to crush monarch realm experts and sweep through all opponents. Taoist Wu Yang praised as well. At this moment, Ling Xiao was hovering in the air while chaotic energy coiled around him. He was like an eternal and indestructible divine mountain that was heavy, majestic, and capable of suppressing everything. Both the old goat and Taoist Wu Yang couldn't help but exclaim in admiration at the terrifying energy and blood emanating from him. 10th level monarch realm cultivation and the heavenly dragon body. What do I have to fear as long as I don't encounter and exalt? Ling Xiao slowly opened his eyes. It was as if two divine suns had instantly appeared in the sky and were emanating dazzling rays of light. Boom! Light flashed around Ling Xiao, and he instantly transformed into a handsome young man. He was dressed in white and had black hair, and he was peerlessly handsome and in high spirits. At this moment, the illusory demon tree had been completely devoured by the wordless heavenly tome. Only an enormous trunk was left behind, and it was suffused with dazzling light. The old goat instantly shattered the trunk with a stomp of his hoof, and 36 dazzling illusory demon tree cores appeared from within. Each of the illusory demon tree cores was the size of a human head. They were perfectly round and flawless, bright and dazzling like a full moon, exuding boundless vitality. These are the illusory demon tree cores in the growth period. These are all good stuff, comparable to supreme sacred medicine. Each of them can extend one's life by 1,000 years, and they can even transform one's body. Taoist Wu Yang's eyes lit up. Ha! With these illusory demon tree cores, my Tao injury can finally be healed. The old goat was the most excited. He had suffered a Tao injury, and he needed the Great Path Order to heal it. The illusory demon tree cores contained some mysterious supreme order that would be extremely beneficial to the old goat's Tao injury. Ling Xiao, I only need 10 illusory demon tree cores. Once I've healed my Tao injury, I'll definitely visit those who ambushed me one by one. Even if they're dead, I'll drag them out and whip their corpses. The old goat exclaimed excitedly. His Tao injury had already partially healed, and these illusory demon tree cores were enough to completely heal his Tao injury. I only need 3. Taoist Wu Yang chuckled. He did not stand on ceremony with Ling Xiao, and directly took 3 illusory demon tree cores. Ling Xiao, the outside world must be in chaos right now. The crown prince of the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon and the human emperor have both been possessed by the extraterrestrial demons. A great battle might have already broken out. Let's go out and take a look, then find a place to cultivate in seclusion. The old goat urged. Ling Xiao smiled and said, Don't be hasty. Let me refine this divine king palace first. Chapter 541. That's right. The divine realm in the divine stone is actually a small world that is being nurtured. It is the prototype of a world created by the illusory demonic ancient tree in the chaos. However, the Scarlet Dragon War God built the divine king palace here and sealed the illusory demonic ancient tree here for 1,000,000 years. Ling Xiao sighed softly and said slowly. It turned out that when Ling Xiao cut out the demon sealing scroll from the goddess stone, the information in the demon sealing scroll allowed Ling Xiao to understand the origin of this celestial stone. In other words, this was not a simple ancient stone but had been refined into a spatial treasure by the Scarlet Dragon War God. The divine realm in the divine stone was actually the prototype of a world created by the illusory demonic ancient tree. The Scarlet Dragon War God suppressed the illusory demonic ancient tree and countless extraterrestrial demons in the divine stone and built the divine king palace and the path to heaven. The reason why one could comprehend the Tao outside the divine stone was because the divine stone suppressed the illusory demonic ancient tree and the extraterrestrial demons' power of laws and turned them into nourishment for the genius's cultivation to advance by leaps and bounds. It could also be said that the divine stone was indeed a trial ground. The sealed demon scroll was a backup plan prepared by the Scarlet Dragon War God. In case the illusory demon ancient tree and the heavenly demons escaped, he could use the sealed demon scroll to completely suppress them. What? This divine stone is a treasure left for the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon? It seems that the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon is most likely the descendant of the Scarlet Dragon War God. Otherwise, the Scarlet Dragon War God would not have left such a treasure. The old goat slowly said. After listening to Ling Xiao, he and Taoist Wu Yang finally understood the origin of the divine stone. The divine stone did not contain the Scarlet Dragon War God's inheritance, but it was a trial ground. Whether it was the path to heaven or the divine stone, they were all opportunities left by the Scarlet Dragon War God for the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon. The Scarlet Dragon War God was a character from 1,000,000 years ago. I didn't expect the extraterrestrial demons to escape and seize the bodies of Yu Yui and the Azure Dragon Human King. However, a treasure that can contain a mature world should be a legendary supreme divine weapon. Taoist Wu Yang's eyes lit up. Although this chaotic world was still in its embryonic form, as long as Ling Xiao refined the celestial stone and took control of this supreme treasure, he would be able to become the master of this world and possess the complete world laws. Not only would this greatly benefit Ling Xiao's martial arts cultivation, but it would also serve as the foundation for establishing a sect in the future. It had to be known that those powerful martial holy lands had all opened up their own minor worlds. However, those minor worlds weren't complete and their laws were incomplete. They could only be considered ordinary spaces attached to the War God continent. However, in Ling Xiao's hand, there was a complete prototype of a world. Do you already know how to refine Empyrean Divine Stone? The old goat looked at Ling Xiao with anticipation in his eyes. Of course. Ling Xiao smiled and remembered the 16 ancient characters outside the godly king's palace. Although the phantom tree had tampered with them, they still contained the secrets left behind by Scarlet Dragon War God. Peerless blood, indestructible battle soul, true dragon fate, and the inheritance of the divine king. The inheritance of the divine king here was to inherit the godly king's palace and become the master of the divine realm, completely refining the Empyrean divine stone. Since Ling Xiao had obtained the recognition of the 16 ancient characters, it meant that Ling Xiao had become the master of this world. With a thought, the stone tablet outside the godly king's palace flew towards Ling Xiao. The 16 ancient characters emitted a dazzling light. However, the traces left behind by the phantom tree on the stone tablet had been completely removed. Ling Xiao kept the stone tablet in his sea of consciousness and began refining it with the power of his primordial spirit. This stone tablet was the core of the entire divine realm. As long as he refined the stone tablet, he would be able to completely control the divine realm. After obtaining the recognition of the 16 ancient characters, Ling Xiao refined the stone tablet almost instantly. Rumble! The entire divine realm was filled with chaos and clouds. Clear air rose to the sky and turbid air sank to the ground. Heaven and earth were separated, yin and yang circulated, and the 5 elements evolved. Mountains, rivers, and continents gradually took shape. The scene of the creation of heaven and earth appeared before Ling Xiao. At this moment, Ling Xiao was like a god of creation. With a thought, the entire divine realm began to evolve into a real world. This place can indeed become the foundation of my Changsheng sect. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. This world was vast and mysterious. It contained incomparably pure Xiantian qi. If a warrior could cultivate here for a long time, his cultivation would definitely advance by leaps and bounds. However, for countless years, the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon had not discovered the secret of the divine stone. Instead, it had benefited Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao's heart flashed with a trace of understanding. The wordless heavenly book was also a treasure of the Scarlet Dragon War God. Perhaps it was because he had obtained the recognition of the wordless heavenly book that he could control this divine stone. The embryonic form of the world in the divine stone was flawless. Ling Xiao was amazed that the phantom tree could nurture such a perfect world. In his previous life, although there was a small world in Ling Xiao's longevity ring, it was not perfect and did not have a complete world order. With a complete world order, the value of this divine stone was beyond imagination. If it was exposed, those supreme being experts would probably go crazy and come to snatch it. I'll leave the divine stone in the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon first. I'll find an opportunity to take it away. I've already refined the divine stone. No one can enter the divine realm anymore. Ling Xiao said with a faint smile. His eyes flashed with a trace of radiance. In this divine realm assembly, Ling Xiao was the one who had gained the most. Not only did he devour the phantom tree, but he also obtained the divine stone, a supreme treasure. That's right. When the ancient kingdom of Azure Dragon finds out that the divine stone is gone, they'll have nowhere to cry. But they must be in a mess now. They probably won't have time to care about the divine stone. The old goat said with a smile. We can go out now. If the Azure Dragon human emperor goes crazy and erupts with his supreme being aura, I'm afraid no one can stop him. And Ling Xiao ruined his plans. I'm afraid he won't let us go. Taoist Wu Yang's eyes showed a trace of seriousness. The Azure Dragon human emperor? If he goes crazy, I'm afraid there will be rivers of blood outside. Let's go out and take a look. The old goat thought for a while and his face turned solemn. A supreme being expert's might shook the world and swept across the land. It was not something that an ordinary warrior could contend against. Ling Xiao descended from the void. There was a trace of sharpness in his eyes. He sneered and said, I don't know if the Azure Dragon human emperor has gone crazy. But are the Nantian family and the Star Palace planning to repay kindness with ingratitude? They have already surrounded the divine stone. Are they planning to take action the moment we come out? You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.